news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock noon, and this is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. KSL's top story.
War in Iran.
The war in Iran has become a war of words over whether Lebanon was or was not part of the ceasefire deal. Vice President J.D. Vance saying today that dispute boils down to a misunderstanding.
Vice President Vance is leading the U.S. delegation that will also include Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law Jared Kushner. But now we're hearing from Iran almost some doubt that this could go forward under the current circumstances, given Israel's ongoing strikes against Lebanon. The Iranian deputy foreign minister says, "We hope that America could control its ally," referring to Israel as they call on the U.S. to get Israel to call off these strikes.
That is ABC's Karen Travers at the White House. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says his country will sit down for talks with Lebanon to discuss disarming Hezbollah. President Trump is suggesting the U.S. and Iran could work together to dig up Tehran's enriched uranium and to control the Strait of Hormuz. What's unclear is where that leaves the two-week ceasefire. Here's retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General Dan Karbler.
Kind of the jury's out right now if the Pentagon has met all of its objectives to the extent that they wanted to. Yes, they decimated Iran's ability to project power, but there certainly is work to do. I think that anybody would agree to that.
The president's latest proposal involved both the U.S. and Iran collecting tolls to access the strait. President Trump is reportedly thinking about a troop shuffle in the Middle East. Here's ABC's Mary Bruce.
As negotiators try to wind down this conflict, the president continues to vent his frustration with NATO allies for not supporting his war effort. An administration official telling ABC News the U.S. is weighing plans to shift troops away from countries that were seen as being unhelpful during this conflict.
Talks to formalize a ceasefire agreement will begin this weekend in Pakistan. Of course, the situation overseas continues to develop. We'll continue to bring you updates all day long. Coming up on Midday, how the war is impacting the economy and what the global uncertainty means for Utah businesses. That's at 2 o'clock right here on KSL News Radio. KSL's top local story, a Utah man convicted of killing his ex-wife is now accused of sexually abusing a child he saw when he was doctor almost 15 years ago. He heard a judge read him his new charges for the first time today.
The new accusations come from 2011 and 2012. Now 62-year-old Johnny Brickman Wall is accused of inappropriately touching a then 7-year-old patient. The victim, who's now an adult, just recently came forward. Today, Commissioner Todd Olson issued a protective order prohibiting Wall from having any contact with the victim.
Mr. Wall, do you understand what I've just told you with the protective order?
I believe I do.
Wall appeared remotely from the state prison in Gunnison. He's currently serving 15 years to life for the murder of his ex-wife in Sugar House back in 2011. He's scheduled to be back in court on the 20th. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
PETA is accusing a horse racing event center in Ogden of drugging and abusing their horses, along with promoting unregulated races. The animal rights organization says jockeys at the Golden Spike Event Center have been caught on camera using whips and an electric shock device on the horses, which violates Utah's animal cruelty laws. PETA also claims that there is some illegal gambling going on. The Golden Spike tells KSL it was unaware of these claims. The FBI is warning Americans to be on the alert after a Utah resident invested in a fake company and lost $200,000. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
That company went by the name of APL Finance, and the Utahn is far from the only victim. Court documents show the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center has identified more than 30 victims in the last year, taking millions of dollars. The Utah victim was contacted about the investment over WhatsApp, with the scammer leading them to believe they were a financial planner. Almost $21 billion have been lost to these cyber scams, with cryptocurrency and AI-related complaints becoming increasingly popular. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Sluggish growth for the American economy in the last 3 months of last year. The Commerce Department's revised GDP report for the last quarter of 2025 shows just 0.5% growth. Here's ABC's Elizabeth Schulze.
What that tells us is that the economy had been slowing down going into the start of this year, and that's before some of the more recent headwinds that we've been seeing when it comes to the price of oil and that shock to the oil supply.
Analysts had previously thought fourth quarter growth was 0.2% stronger. Inflation is still on the move.
The Personal Consumption Expenditures Index is the Fed's favorite measure of inflation because it's based on a deep pool of data. The latest report shows prices for everything from cars to furniture rising 2.8% year over year. The only problem with the report is that it's based on figures from February and doesn't reflect an economy at war.
That is ABC's Jim Ryan. We'll check money news coming up at 12:25. First look traffic. Good afternoon, Michelle.
Good afternoon, Maria. We have a disabled vehicle. This is eastbound on Bangerter Highway in Draper as you're approaching the I-15 interchange. We do have police out doing traffic control, getting people through that area. Also northbound SR36, still really jammed up between Mills Junction and Lake Point. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
My friend Joey means well.
Always remember that the early bird gathers no moss.
But he gets a little confused.
You know, you can't make a silk purse out of a wooden nickel.
Like Joey, many of us can be confused when it comes time to plan for retirement. When to take Social Security, how to use that 401k, what about the stock market, taxes, and Medicare? Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management can help to simplify retirement planning. His goal is to have you walk into retirement with confidence, not worry, and to address the number one concern among retirees today, the fear of running out of money. Call Galileo Wealth today for a no-cost, no-obligation meeting to talk about the details of your retirement. 385-247-7000. It's 385-247-7000 or online, GalileoWealth.com. And remember,
one man's trash is thicker than water. Of course, water's not thick at all. It's watery.
We finally realized something.
We wanted more time for family, faith, and service.
And less time giving every Saturday to the house.
At Ovation Homes, active adults 55 plus can enjoy beautifully designed, low-maintenance homes in a welcoming community built for this season of life.
More peace, less upkeep.
And more time for what matters most.
Learn more about Ovation Homes' newest communities in West Point, Syracuse, and Layton with an open house event April 11th featuring experts, food, and more. Visit OvationHomes.com.
Let's be responsible.
Yeah, absolutely.
That counts.
Safe, secure, and built for comfort with locations in Syracuse, West Point, and Layton. Downsize without compromise with a home that truly fits your lifestyle. To learn more and see all the amenities, visit OvationHomesUtah.com. That's OvationHomesUtah.com. Your best years start at Ovation Homes.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story, the jury is still out on exactly how Israel's strikes on Lebanon will affect ceasefire talks between the U.S. and Iran. We'll keep you up to date here on KSL News Radio as the situation develops. KSL News Time 12:07. The number of young adults living in Salt Lake City is on the rise, with many of them deciding to live with roommates or partners over their parents. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
According to a new Kim C. Gardner report, nearly half of young people between the ages of 18 and 24 are living with others. Only a fifth of people in this age group are still at home, which public policy analyst Heidi Pryor says information, combined with the rest of the report, goes against negative assumptions people may make about this age group.
They're hustling, they are working, they are earning degrees, they are living independently. They're just a really active, vibrant group of people.
This data is unique to Salt Lake since in the rest of the state, others in the same age range are twice as likely to be living with parents or relatives. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
KSL Sports. Tonight, the Utah Mammoth will play one of their biggest games of the season. They'll be taking on the Nashville Predators, who are right behind them in the playoff standings. A win would go a long way in helping them lock down their first playoff appearance in Utah. The puck drops at the Delta Center tonight at 7. You can hear the game live on the KSL Sports Zone. Former Salt Lake Bees star Joe Adele is going to have to get a new glove because the one he used the other night against Seattle is headed to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Adele, who now plays for the LA Angels, made history Saturday night when he robbed 3 home runs in a single game. Adele actually fell into the stands to rob that 3rd home run.
J.P. Crawford into the corner, and Adele, there's no way. There's no way. Joe Adele is having the night of his life.
And nothing like being in the stadium when something like that happens. That's how it sounded on FanDuel Sports Network. Adele became the first player to accomplish this in at least the last 20 years. And the Bear River girls lacrosse team is breaking records, winning more than 101 games since the start of the program. They've only lost 2 games overall. Now, the players tell KSL it's thanks to their coaches. Head coach Jeremy Webb decided to join the team after his daughter asked, and he had never played lacrosse in his life. He says he uses some of the values he learned in the Air Force, like integrity, excellence, and sacrifice for all you do. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Michelle?
Again, we have a disabled vehicle. This is in Draper, eastbound on Banketer Highway. The 2 left lanes are still blocked. They're working on trying to get the disabled vehicle up onto a tow truck right now, but they are having to direct some traffic to get through that area. Now, for drivers that are on northbound SR36 going between Mills Junction and Lake Point, construction's still slowing you down there. Traffic's backed up almost to Pole Canyon Road. That's going to go up to the merge to join I-80. Michelle Rowan, the KSL Traffic Center.
Pretty delightful spring weather today. Got a high of 75 expected and partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, south breeze kicks up, 77 the high, mostly cloudy. Keeping it cloudy on Saturday, 70 the high with a slight chance for a PM shower. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's partly cloudy in downtown Salt Lake City and 66 degrees. And coming up on midday, work is underway to help more Utahns avoid or recover from homelessness. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. What if I were to tell you in the next 60 days you could be 20 to 30 pounds lighter? And not only that, you could keep this weight off. I've been telling you about Salt Lake City Fat Loss for the last couple of years. This great program has helped me lose more than 40 pounds. And it's different. It's a doctor-developed program with all natural foods that teaches you how to keep the weight off and then gives you the support to actually do that. They have a great app. This program is all natural, no injections, no medications. You just eat regular food that you buy from the grocery store. And that means it also costs a lot less than other programs because you don't have to pay for things like breakfast bars or meals. Find out if you are eligible in a free consultation. Just go to slcfatloss.com. I've lost more than 40 pounds. Many of their clients lose up to a pound per day in the 60-day program. Again, go to slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
I'm Congressman Mike Kennedy. For years, Utah families have paid too much for health care, groceries, and everyday essentials. I'm fighting for health care reform that puts patients first and lowers costs. I'm also working to cut waste, fraud, and abuse in Washington because your tax dollars should be spent wisely. Fiscal responsibility means lower costs and a government that works for you. I'm Mike Kennedy, and I'll keep fighting for Utah families. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
It was opening night at Hale Center Theater for The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Victor Hugo's classic tale. I was with my son, Ian, and it was nothing short of spectacular. The staging, the costuming, the music, it's simply breathtaking. And, of course, the actors and the voices. You have to see The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's on the main stage right now at Hale Center Theater. So many of the scenes are never to be forgotten. For example, when Frollo is just struggling with his passion for Esmeralda and his soul, the flames and the tension on the stage is unbelievable. And to see the Hunchback up in the tower with the bells, don't miss Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's underway right now at Hale Center Theater. And continuing, Peter Pan Goes Wrong. That's on the Jewel Box stage and Hallmarked on the Beehive stage. Get your tickets now. hct.org. Don't miss the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
a Utah man convicted of killing his ex-wife more than a decade ago was back in front of a judge today, now accused of sexually abusing a 7-year-old patient when he was a doctor. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, mortgage rates are down slightly this week, but inflation continues to climb. Third, traffic and weather together, Michelle.
Still working on getting this disabled vehicle off of Bangater Highway. This is eastbound in Draper, where it joins I-15. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
A mixture of clouds and sunshine today, with rain chances in the forecast. I'm Matt Johnson.
Partly cloudy, 66 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories from ABC News.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. After carrying out heavy strikes in southern Lebanon yesterday, targeting Hezbollah and saying Israel and Lebanon was not part of the Iran-U.S. ceasefire, Benjamin Netanyahu's office now says Israel will hold direct talks with Lebanon next week. It comes as talks on a permanent end to the war are set to take place in Pakistan tomorrow. At the center, the Strait of Hormuz. ABC News contributor and retired Colonel Stephen Ganyard says Iran was not in control of the strait before the war, and countries around the world don't want the possibility of the critical waterway to face future economic blocks.
There's nobody in the world that's going to support their position that they will be allowed to toll the Strait of Hormuz. So everybody from their Chinese friends, the Pakistanis on down, are going to say, no, that's got to change. So that will be one of the key sticking points, because Iran is looking for ways that they're going to develop revenue sources that will rebuild their economy and rebuild their country.
Vice President J.D. Vance will lead the U.S. delegation on talks with Iran. An appeals court in New York hearing arguments today by attorneys for Sean Diddy Combs, who asked to reduce his sentence. Combs was sentenced to 4 years in prison for sex trafficking charges. ABC's Peter Haralambou says their argument that Combs' conduct was protected under the First Amendment may be shaky.
It's not just necessarily opened or closed on or off. There is a degree.
Overall, we're hearing a lot of skepticism from these judges that Combs should be released even earlier or have this case thrown out. In particular, that argument about the First Amendment, this idea that Sean Combs was basically an amateur pornographer, they haven't even talked about it over the course of these 2 hours. It doesn't seem like they're really giving that a lot of thought.
The Artemis II crew gearing up for their final phase of the 10-day lunar moon mission, re-entry to Earth tomorrow. It's one of the most dangerous parts of the mission, along with takeoff. Astronauts today, though, waking up to Lonesome Drifter. Splashdown is set off the coast of San Diego at 8:07 Eastern Friday. You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. Several groups came together this morning to break ground on new housing unit for stable, affordable housing. Victoria Petro represents Salt Lake City's West Side in District 1.
Well, what I love is that this is happening on the other side of the street. That as we envision an outrageous prosperity that will require multiple billions of dollars just to entertain us, on this side of the street, you have people like Carol Hollowell, remembering that humans sometimes don't get to exist under blitzy lights and sometimes don't live at 150% AMI. And that doesn't mean they're worth less dignity. It doesn't mean that they're worth less investment. It doesn't mean that the negative narratives that prevail about them have to be the only narratives that prevail about them. And that District 1, the west side of Salt Lake City, as it rises, will continue to be a place of redemption. Will continue to be a place where you can reinvent yourself, where good things can happen no matter what's come before. I'm so thankful for your unique skill in this. I see some other people in there, like Jennifer, who are doing things in my community to make sure that that's what this place stays known as. And I'm so proud to be just even a small blip on the radar as it happens. So thank you, and all wishes for continued success.
We'll have a full report coming up at 12:30. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Michelle?
It looks like they finally have that vehicle up on the record. This is eastbound on Bangater Highway as you're approaching the I-15 interchange. It's not completely cleared out of the area, so you want to use some caution in that area because both of the left lanes to go northbound on I-15 are still blocked. Now for drivers on SR-36, we're seeing some slowdowns there as well. This is due to construction between Mills Junction and Lake Point. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. You got 75 today, partly cloudy skies. Breezy tomorrow out of the south. That'll keep us warm, 77, mostly cloudy. Keeping it cloudy on your Saturday, 70, breezy, and a PM shower possible. Better chances for rain on Sunday and Monday. Temperatures will be in the 60s and 50s. We got a 57, mostly cloudy on Tuesday, 30% chance for rain, then clearing 63 by Wednesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Partly cloudy in downtown Salt Lake City and 66 degrees. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. A quick check of the markets. The Dow right now up by more than 300 points. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
Hey, have you seen the Johnson's house lately?
Yeah, new siding, new windows, even the gutters look amazing.
Right? I walked past 3 times yesterday.
You don't even live on this street.
I know, but their house looks that good.
When your siding, windows, gutters, and decking look great, people notice. That's what RGS Exteriors does.
Hi, Tim Brown here, RGS Exteriors. My family has been building and improving homes in Utah for 5 generations, and taking care of homeowners is something we take very serious. With over 1,300 5-star Google reviews, 21 Best of State awards, and our 10-year workmanship warranty, homeowners know they can trust RGS. Over 200,000 families across Utah have trusted RGS Exteriors with their home, and so can you. Schedule your free estimate today at 801-280-3110, 801-280-3110. 801-280-3110.
For over 22 years, speaking on business on KSL News Radio has been a beloved tradition, celebrating our heroic business leaders and Utah consumers who have helped build one of the strongest state economies in the nation. Now, under the stewardship of the Salt Lake Chamber, and hosted by Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller, the program continues to shine a spotlight on those who make Utah's business environment dynamic and thriving. With his expertise and passion, Derek brings the stories of our business community to life. As part of the Salt Lake Chamber, Speaking on Business is proud to continue its legacy of highlighting inspiring stories, trends, and special guests. Support Utah businesses now and be part of Utah's thriving economy. More information can be found at slchamber.com. That's slchamber.com.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house, whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed. Call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a gripping new podcast about a serial killer you've probably never heard of, Warren Forrest.
If he had dumped 2, you would have thought maybe there's another one.
But now a witness, identified in the podcast, could lead investigators to Jamie Grissom. Binge Stolen Voices of Dole Valley wherever you get your podcasts and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the latest breaking news in the case.
KSL News Time, 1224. Nestle is taking the loss of a massive shipment of Kit Kat bars in stride, making it part of a marketing campaign. ABC's Jim Ryan has more.
After 12 tons of its popular chocolate bars were stolen in transit from Italy to Poland last week, Nestle launched a web-based Kit Kat tracker and invited consumers to help find the pilfered bars. Now a Kit Kat delivery truck in Canada has been spotted with a head-of-state-style escort of black SUVs. Nestle confirms that it's part of a local marketing campaign playing off the theft in Europe.
In case you wanted to know, 12 tons of stolen Kit Kats equals more than 400,000 candy bars. Watching Utah's money, Greece is the latest country in the EU to ban access to social media for children under 15. Prime Minister says the move is aimed at tackling rising anxiety and sleep problems among young people. Madagascar has declared a 2-week nationwide state of emergency in response to the sharp rise in gas prices due to the war in Iran. Madagascar's leaders say they fear social disorder in response to the sharply rising cost of living after last year's violent protests against persistent water and power shortages. Some investors say the taco trade has become an increasingly reliable way to beat the market. No, these investors aren't talking about trading meat, cheese, and tortillas. They are referring to the acronym for Trump Always Chickens Out. Investors say they can rely on the president to step in if the market becomes too volatile and make bets on things like oil and energy much safer. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 293 points, more than 0.5%, sitting at 48,210. Both the NASDAQ and S&P up by about 0.5%. The NASDAQ up 31 points, the S&P up 31 points, the NASDAQ up 115 points. We are just over 24 hours away from the end of Artemis 2's mission to the moon, but the overall mission goes on. Astronaut Christina Koch says Artemis 2 will literally pass the baton to the crew that will follow them.
This is a relay race. In fact, we have batons that we bought to symbolize physically that. We plan to hand them to the next crew, and every single thing that we do is with them in mind.
The capsule should splash down in the Pacific Ocean near San Diego tomorrow after passing through 5,000-degree heat to get there.
Is your financial advisor managing your risk or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategy, and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Call Trajan today at 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU. Love where you bank. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Construction still slowing you down for drivers on northbound SR 36 between Pole Canyon Road and Saddleback Boulevard. That is due to construction. Now, if you're on northbound I-15, seeing good speeds from Utah County all the way up to downtown and beyond. Still working on actually, it looks like they just barely got the disabled vehicle eastbound Bangerter Highway at I-15. They just got that cleared. Michelle Rowe in the Casel Traffic Center.
We're looking at partly cloudy skies today with a high of 75. Tomorrow we'll see a south breeze kick up. Look for a high of 77, mostly cloudy. Mostly cloudy with a slight chance for a PM shower Saturday, 70. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now in downtown Salt Lake City, partly cloudy skies and 66 degrees. Looking at some of the other area temperatures, 67 in Provo, St. George, 74, and Park City this hour, 56 degrees.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time 1230. KSL's top story this hour. Ground was broken this morning on a new 76-unit affordable housing project on Salt Lake City's west side. We get the latest up from KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff. Don?
Maria, Switchpoint is the third phase of a development known as the Fair Park Project. Carol Hollowell is the CEO of the Switchpoint Community Resource Center.
76 units is a big deal, right? It's $25 million to go from ground to up and we have case management rooms on every level. We have medical facilities that will be available to our veterans teams. So it's a big deal to bring all these partners together.
Project is going up across the street from the area that's been set aside for a Major League Baseball park. The first two phases of this project are already at capacity with waiting lists. Reporting live, Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Inflation continues to rise, but mortgage rates have actually dropped slightly this week, offering some hope for future home affordability. That's the first time the rates have fallen in more than a month. The current rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage is 6.37%. KSL's top national stories.
War in Iran.
There is still uncertainty over oil and gas prices because of the ongoing tensions in the Middle East. ABC's Mary Bruce has more.
Talks are set to begin this weekend in Pakistan, but huge questions remain, including who will ultimately control the strait. Before the war, ships could pass through free of charge. Now the president is suggesting the U.S. and Iran could work together to collect tolls, potentially giving Iran more power over the global economy.
Currently, just a handful of ships have gone through the strait. Oil is hovering just over $96 a barrel after peaking this morning over $100. Here in Utah, you're paying an average of $4.26 for a gallon of regular unleaded gas today. That is up $1.08 in the last month. The American economy was growing in the last quarter of last year, but not by much. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has details on the new GDP report from the Commerce Department.
This new report out this morning shows the economy grew at a slightly slower pace than we previously thought, at least at the end of last year. So GDP growth was 0.5%, an annual growth rate for the final quarter of 2025.
Today's report is a revision. Initially, government figures estimated growth in the last quarter at 0.7%. Other national stories KSL is following. Draft registration is about to become automatic in the U.S., but the government insists it's not related to the war in Iran.
When American men hit age 18, they have to sign up for the draft pool, but they have to go to the post office and do it manually. A new law that goes into effect in December automatically will register them in the Selective Service System on their 18th birthday, but it's not a new policy, and it's not because of the recent war. The auto register provision was included in last year's Defense Authorization Act passed by Congress as a money-saving measure. There's been no actual draft in the United States since 1973. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
The Salt Lake City Council is debating what name to put on the street signs to replace the name of now disgraced civil rights leader Cesar Chavez. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson is live with the latest. Heather?
Maria, they took down signs for Cesar Chavez Boulevard a few weeks ago, which means they now need a new honorary name for 500 South. The switch comes after a New York Times report last month accusing Chavez of sexually assaulting several women. They kept quiet for fear of damaging the workers' rights movement. Salt Lake City Council Chair Alejandro Puy has suggested Dolores Huerta in his place. Huerta, who's now 96 years old, claims she was also one of Chavez's victims, but she was also pivotal in that civil rights movement.
Dolores was the co-founder of the United Farms Workers. She was the driving force on the strategy, and she was the leader, many times overshadowed on the victory. So we think it's very appropriate.
They're asking for public input, though, which means you'll have a chance to weigh in at a hearing Puy says they'll schedule in the next week or two. Reporting live, Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
Utah Governor Spencer Cox is once again putting social media companies on blast, but he's also encouraging government leaders not to censor free speech on their platforms. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
Governor Cox says that's because he believes when we censor free speech, we limit the exchange of different viewpoints and open the door for algorithms to keep us addicted to the content we see on a given platform. The Deseret News reports Cox also told people during yesterday's Cambridge Disinformation Summit that he believes bots are also a huge part of the problem, saying they spread misinformation and keep people divided.
Cox blamed bots for most of the conspiracy theories after Charlie Kirk was murdered at Utah Valley University. First look traffic. What's happening, Michelle?
Well, I'm getting a message from a traffic trooper saying that northbound SR 36 is blocked at Lake Point by an accident. Now, there is also construction going on in that area, and you're still backed up almost to Pole Canyon Road. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
More outside, less online. That's what growing up should feel like. Time with friends, after school, family dinners, real conversations. TrueMe is the kid-safe phone designed to protect that because kids need a phone to stay connected. But most phones open the door to things parents never intended. TrueMe is different, built to grow with your child, so you can add features when they're ready and when you're ready, so they stay connected to what matters without getting pulled into what doesn't. With smart safeguards like approved contacts, message filtering, and parent insights, you can guide their digital life with confidence because the phone should support their life, not take it over. Plans start at $24.95 a month, no contracts, with live customer support right here in Utah. Visit TrueMe.com. That's TROOMI.com. TrueMe. Protect childhood.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Thank you for joining us for Midday, recapping our top story. Italy's prime minister is the latest European leader calling for peace in the Middle East. She's calling on Europe to work with the U.S. to strengthen NATO. KSL News Time, 12:37. An American Fork man was arrested after police say he flashed several children during a road rage incident. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott has the story.
Police say 55-year-old Mark Richards stopped another driver on the road earlier this week and then got out and exposed himself to the driver and their 3 child passengers. It didn't stop there, according to Lehigh police officer Shelby Donnelly. He says they found Richards from a video taken by a passenger and arrested him at his home.
Our suspect was arrested while nude and was confrontational with law enforcement, was making some allegations that he wanted the police to end his life, and then there was some kind of physical altercation that occurred between law enforcement and him, which resulted in him becoming injured, not by us, but apparently as he was being escorted out of the residence, his head collided with the door frame.
Richards is facing 3 counts of lewdness involving a child. Cameron Elliott, KSL News Radio.
Salt Lake City is moving forward with plans to update and revamp hiking trails in the foothills. The city council voted to release $200,000 toward that goal. Trails and Natural Lands Division Director Tyler Finaro, said safety played a big part in the updated plan.
Extensive interviews with the fire department, with Captain Winkler at Station 4 and others at the department on emergency access. That's a big component of the plan, is emergency access as well as wildfire fighting.
The council says that they hope the trails can be enjoyed by community members for years to come. KSL Sports. BYU is officially entering the off-season after a bit of a disappointing run this year. KSL News Radio's Reagan Edelman has more.
BYU insider Mitch Harper says the season fell flat, especially ending with a first-round exit in the NCAA tournament. But he also says that Coach Kevin Young is still learning college basketball after spending most of his career in the NBA, and he'll adjust as he enters year 3.
He'll adjust accordingly and find maybe that happy medium between year 1, where it was a Sweet 16 team, and then this past year 2, where they got bounced in the round of 64. Finding that happy medium, I think, will be critical for Kevin Young and his program going forward.
Mitch says that Kevin Young has given BYU a leg up by getting them in the conversation for top-end talent like A.J. DeBonsa. He says if they shape up their defense, stay healthy, and find more consistent good shooters, they'll be in the national conversation again. Reagan Edelman, KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. What's happening, Michelle?
Well, again, SR 36 really jammed up between construction, and then apparently there's an accident there. Can't get my eyes on that. We don't have a camera that is showing that, but it looks like it might be just north of the Canyon Road area. Traffic's backed up almost to Pole Canyon Road. Now, once you get past that, you're going to see good speeds as you're joining either I-80 or the 201. Just a little bit of typical slowing on the 201, and that is in the Magna area. I-15, it's running at posted speeds right now. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Fantastic weather today, though we will deal with a little bit of cloud cover, calling it partly cloudy by afternoon, 75. Breezy out of the south tomorrow. That'll kick temperatures to 77, mostly cloudy. Still breezy on Saturday, mostly cloudy, PM shower, 70. Better chance for rain Sunday, Monday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's partly cloudy in downtown Salt Lake City, 68 degrees. Coming up on Midday, how Weber State students are giving back to their community and helping the community pays it forward. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. And join KSL in the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1 at the Salt Lake NPS store, 1600 Empire Road in Salt Lake City, npsstore.com.
An emergency can happen any second. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
This is Nate Orchard from Advanced Window Products. When you live in Utah, your windows do a lot more than let the light in. They protect your home from freezing winters, blazing summers, and everything in between. That's why Advanced Window Products builds every window for your local climate. No middleman, no out-of-state delays, just factory direct quality, custom made for your home. Imagine a quieter home, a warmer home, a cooler home. Our high-efficiency vinyl windows are engineered to lower your energy bills and boost your comfort all year round. And installation is done by our own certified in-house crews, never subcontractors. That's why Utah homeowners give us 5-star reviews. Right now, take advantage of our anniversary sale. For a limited time, get $2,500 off when you buy 10 or more windows. Call 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. For 40 years, Advanced Window Products has been the name Utah trusts for custom replacement windows and sliding glass doors. Advanced Window Products, built here, installed here, trusted here. Call 801-850-9100 for that $2,500 off or visit us at advancedwindows.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has been Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. Got a high-priced repair bill from another company and you're just not sure about it? Call Whipple. Get a free, no-pressure estimate or bring us their quote for an honest second opinion. Totally free. Whipple Service Champions, Utah's first place for second opinions since 1947. Call 385-273-7167 for your free estimate today. 385-273-7167.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. But do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At Capital Wealth Advisors, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the Capital Wealth Advisors team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
KSL News Time, 1245. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Salt Lake City is going to hear from the public on what honorary name to give 500 South after removing the name of now disgraced civil rights leader Cesar Chavez. The city council says Dolores Huerta is a strong contender. I'm KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson.
Second, a report from the Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute shows a larger percentage of young adults are living away from home in Salt Lake City when compared to other parts of the state. Third, traffic and weather together, Michelle.
SR 36 still really slow. This is between Mills Junction and Lake Point. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Pretty quiet weather today, then we've got a little bit of wind tomorrow, then a chance for rain. I'm Matt Johnson.
68 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Israel says it's ready to hold direct talks with Lebanon, but Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in an address a short time ago, telling Israelis there is no ceasefire yet with Lebanon as it carries out deadly strikes targeting Hezbollah. It comes as negotiations between the U.S. and Iran begin tomorrow. ABC's Mary Bruce says the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz is at the center.
The vice president, who is now leading negotiations and eager to tout this truce, says the ceasefire is, quote, in a good spot, even as the strait remains closed, chalking it up to a, quote, misunderstanding.
I think the Iranians thought that the ceasefire included Lebanon, and it just didn't. We never made that promise. We never indicated that was going to be the case.
Talks are set to begin this weekend in Pakistan, but huge questions remain, including who will ultimately control the strait.
Self-driving car companies Waymo and Waze announcing a new joint pilot program to detect potholes. The real-time data will be available for city and state transportation departments. This is ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. Giving Tuesday is still planned for the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, but in Ogden, today might just be Giving Thursday. It's Weber State University's second annual Day of Giving, raising funds for scholarships, student programs, and even basic needs on campus. KSL TV's Tyrese Spoon has more.
Weber students and staff are getting a big boost from a 24-hour fundraising effort, and university leaders hope the community will step up to support its campus programs.
Weber State University is hosting its second annual Day of Giving, a 24-hour fundraiser supporting students and staff. Last year's first event brought in more than $94,000, and organizers hope to exceed that total this year.
We were super excited about the results. We raised $94,000, and it was our first year, so we were really excited about that. This year, we're just looking forward to, of course, breaking those goals, getting new donors engaged.
The fundraiser provides support for students facing urgent financial challenges, including food insecurity and unexpected expenses.
Students who needs help with funding when they're in like an emergency. Some students they're like about to go homeless, or some people who cannot afford their tuition.
The Day of Giving also funds scholarships, campus projects, and programs that give students hands-on experiences beyond the classroom.
We do everything from scholarships to basic needs center like the food pantry, helping with different conferences and retreats that the students can go on to get that real lived experiences.
Community members and alumni are encouraged to donate, helping students and staff succeed academically and personally.
Organizers say even the smallest donations can make a big impact for students and staff at the university. Reporting from Ogden, Tyrese Boone, KSL 5 News.
Anyone can pitch in to help at give.weber.edu. Roughly two-thirds of all college students say inflation has hit them hard, with rising rent, foods, books, and tuition prices all factoring into that struggle. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Michelle?
Again, we still have some sizable traffic for drivers making their way northbound on SR 36. It's eased a little bit, but you're still slow between Canyon Road and the entrance to join onto I-80. Now, if you're headed on I-15, seeing good speeds there right now. Nothing really to slow you down between Ogden all the way down into the Provo area. Now, but if you're on Pioneer Crossing, again, we have construction going on there as well, and that is intermittent slowing as you're going between American Fork headed over to Saratoga Springs. Michelle Rowan, the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. You gotta love today. 75, partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, 77, breezy out of the south, still mostly cloudy. We go mostly cloudy with a PM shower Saturday, 70 and breezy. A third straight day of wind on Sunday. We'll go for 64, chance for rain. Showers likely on Monday, 55. 57, mostly cloudy on Tuesday, 30% chance. And then mostly sunny, 63. by Wednesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, it's mostly cloudy in downtown Salt Lake City and 68 degrees, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets at this hour. They are all in positive territory. All three indices, S&P, NASDAQ, and Dow, all up by about 0.5%. Complete update of your money news is coming up next.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. You can feel the spring in the air. As a matter of fact, we've been feeling the spring in the air all winter long, but as the season genuinely changes, it's time to make your reservation at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, Hotel Park City and downtown Salt Lake City. And don't forget, quite a few great events are just around the corner, including some holidays. We'll have a lot of visitors in Salt Lake City before long, and it's time to make your reservation at the downtown location, 275 South West Temple. And of course, up in the mountains, it is beautiful. There's still some skiing going on. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is right there at Hotel Park City. The best meal you have ever had awaits you at Ruth's Chris, whether it's steaks, whether it's poultry, whether it's seafood, the side dishes, the desserts. You're going to love Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, downtown Salt Lake City and Hotel Park City.
We finally realized something.
We wanted more time for family, faith, and service.
And less time giving every Saturday to the house.
Amen to that.
At Ovation Homes, active adults 55 plus can enjoy beautifully designed, low-maintenance homes in a welcoming community built for this season of life.
More peace, less upkeep.
Learn more about Ovation Homes' newest communities in West Point, Syracuse, and Layton with an open house event April 11th featuring experts, food, and more. Visit ovationhomes.com.
We decided to downsize.
Less to manage.
Fewer stairs.
More friends.
Ovation Homes. Downsize the stairs, upsize the lifestyle. Your best years start at Ovation Homes. To learn more about your next home, find a community, or speak to an Ovation specialist, visit ovationhomesutah.com. That's ovationhomesutah.com. Your best years start at Ovation Homes.
As a social influencer, my days can be busy. 4 a.m., I hit the gym. 4:32, protein smoothie. 5:08, save time and money bundling my home and auto insurance with Progressive. Wait, if I bundle and save time, what would I do then? Just sit here and reflect? Like, why am I qualified to influence anyone? And how those weights are hollow? And half of my followers are bots.
You could save time and money bundling your home and auto when you switch to Progressive. It's one less thing to worry about during your already busy day. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Who is Farm Bureau Financial Services? At our core, we're relationship builders. We're home and auto bundlers, life insurers, farm and ranch protectors, and retirement planners. We're neighbors, community members, and friends. We're the people you can count on now and for years to come. Find a Farm Bureau agent at fbfs.com/protect. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company.
We do have some breaking news. First Lady Melania Trump is urging Congress to allow Jeffrey Epstein's victims to speak while also denying any connections between herself and the convicted sex offender. She spoke briefly from the White House just moments ago, saying that fake images and statements have been making the rounds about her for years, and reiterating she is not one of his victims or a witness to any of his crimes, nor did she know about any of the abuse at the time. The Artemis II crew is nearing the final moments of their time in space. By the time you get home tomorrow night, they will have splashed down in the Pacific Ocean near San Diego. But they're not out of the woods yet. They have to get through re-entry, and it's 5,000-degree temperatures.
NASA's critical focus now, 1, re-entry, 2, a successful splashdown for the history-making crew.
And upon their return, the crew is ready to help shape the next missions to the moon.
That is ABC's Sam Champion reporting. Make sure that you're listening to Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News tomorrow afternoon for live coverage of the splashdown. Watching Utah's money, U.S. crude was back up today, still waiting for news of more movement in the Strait of Hormuz, but gas prices still holding steady. Here in Utah, you will pay $4.26 a gallon. Another airline price increase, this time American joining the trend and raising checked bagged fees, and it will cost even more if you just buy a basic economy ticket. This as jet fuel costs continue to weigh on the industry. Delta, United, JetBlue, and Southwest all made similar moves this week. The U.S. Postal Service is pausing contributions to their employee pension plan, saying the agency is at risk of running out of funds entirely. The agency was putting about $400 million a month towards that plan. Now, they went on to say that employers can still contribute to their retirements, but the USPS is going to sit out for a while. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 282 points, more than 0.5%, sitting at 48,191. S&P up by 32 points, and the Nasdaq up by 124 points. Everything turned out okay in the end, but rescuers in Florida say don't try this at home. They had to pull a woman out of a canal after she jumped in to save her dog just outside of Fort Lauderdale.
He fell behind me, and I had to jump in the water because he was panicking, and I was afraid that he's going to swim away.
Now, the whole thing was caught on police body camera. Rescuers had to navigate steep canal walls with very limited footholds to get both to Diana and her dog, to get them both to safety.
We want to talk about Soda, Diet, and Nutrition. SOTA stands for state of the art. And Andy and I both let go of massive amounts of weight. You more than me.
70 pounds in 5 months.
And I did 37 pounds in 3 months. And what worked for me was so many things. Talking to a nutritionist every week and having her tell me what to eat. I can do as I'm told.
Yeah.
But I have no clue where to begin.
And I needed the help too. It's just food. There's no pills, no injections. So you learn how to both let go of the weight and then how to keep it off.
So Soda, Diet, and Nutrition is a great place to start. But if you started with pills or medications and you find yourself starting to gain some weight back, Soda, Diet, and Nutrition is a great way to learn how to have a new relationship with food to go into the future.
You can talk with a nutritionist by calling 866-800-SOTA, S-O-T-A, or you can go to their website, sotadietandnutrition.com.
Join now and your partner joins for free. 2 people, real accountability for the price of 1.
Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
Trying to make sense of the markets? Looking to diversify out of all the craziness? Thinking about tangible assets like precious metals? Listen to The Gold Show with Alan Johnson right here on KSL at 3 p.m. Sunday afternoons. Stay up to date on retirement trends, how the IRA rollover process works, and why investors are turning to physical gold. Alan is a national talk show host with decades of experience in the markets. Tune in for Alan's Insights and The Gold Show this Sunday afternoon at 3. Sign up for KSL text alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
The ridgeline is imposing, the escarpments, the drops.
A place where survival,
it's dark now, I have nothing,
is never certain. In 2011, an Australian hiker vanished.
Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard.
The mountains have decided to keep him.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Save big, UCCU. Love where you bank. Michelle, what's happening on the roads?
Looking much better on SR 36 over in the Tooele area. Maria, this is as you're approaching Lake Point at the I-80 interchange. Now for drivers that are on the 201, that's looking pretty good. Just a little bit of minor slowing right in the Magna area. I-15 is running at posted speeds from Ogden to Provo. Michelle Rowan, the KSL Traffic Center.
Taking a look at the forecast for the Wasatch Front, we are looking at highs in the 70s through Saturday. But yes, that chance of showers still in the forecast, a 30% chance on Saturday and a 50% chance on Sunday, even growing to a 60% chance on Monday. Temperatures will also drop significantly, dropping 10 degrees on Sunday down into the 60s and another 10 degrees by Monday down into the 50s. And it looks like we're starting off the beginning of the week in the 50s. Right now, sunshine, clouds, 70 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Tackling the issues of affordable housing. This morning, leaders broke ground on Phase 3 of a development to support housing and other resources for senior and veterans in the Salt Lake area.
But we have over 400 seniors on our waiting list. And so this is a really critical piece to say, hey, if we've got room in our parking lot, let's build some more and take some pressure off of our waiting list.
The time is 1 o'clock on Thursday, April 9th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we'll get details on what makes this development different and how leaders with the county, nonprofits, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are coming together to make it happen. Also this hour,
she was the leader, many times overshadowed on the victory, so we think it's very appropriate.
the Salt Lake City Council continuing their debate over renaming 500 South, which used to be named in honor of Cesar Chavez. But first, our top stories. A Utah man convicted of killing his ex-wife more than a decade ago is back in front of a judge today. 62-year-old Johnny Brickman Wall is now being accused of sexually abusing a 7-year-old patient when he was a practicing doctor in 2011 and 2012. Today, Commissioner Todd Olson read Wall the new charges and ordered that he have no contact with the victim.
Was there anything else you did not understand?
It's the first I'm hearing of it, so...
Yeah, that's okay. Mr. Wall, you're facing some incredibly serious charges. It's very appropriate for you to have a conversation with your lawyer.
Wall is currently serving 15 years to life in prison for the 2011 murder of his ex-wife in Sugar House. Our top national story from ABC News. Iran says the Strait of Hormuz has been reopened, but maritime traffic is moving slowly. And Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy says not all maritime traffic is getting through.
It's not just necessarily opened or closed on or off. There is a degree here. According to reports yesterday, we didn't see any oil carriers getting through the Strait of Hormuz, but we did see bulk carriers getting through. So maybe some light at the end of the tunnel here, but gas prices are going to be very much tied to whether or not we see more ships, or if we don't, we could easily go back up.
The average cost for a gallon of gas in the U.S. right now is $4.17. Taking a look at your money at this moment, Dow up by 287 points, sitting at 48,198. S&P up by 37, the NASDAQ up by 142 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Michelle?
I-15 running smoothly. This is from Ogden to Provo, but you will see some slowdowns a little further south. This is as you're headed southbound, south of Nephi, going between Nephi and Scipio. SR-36 looking much better in the Lake Point area. At UTA, it's never just a ride from point A to point B. They move independence, they move purpose, they move memories, they move what matters. You plan your trip at rideuta.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
That slight chance of showers creeping into our forecast. We did see just a few sprinkles this morning and a 10% chance today and tomorrow, 30% chance on Saturday, and then 50% on Sunday. 70 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Higher taxes, soaring inflation, record low interest rates, and the skyrocketing cost of healthcare. The list goes on. Retiring successfully today is a lot more complicated than ever before. Learn how you can tackle the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement today. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio. It's this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
Every day here in Utah, people turn to KSL News Radio for one simple reason: trust. Trust for our reporters, hosts, our coverage, and trust in the businesses heard right here. I've met so many of our listeners over the years, and they'll tell you KSL is part of their daily routine, in the car, at work, at home. And when they hear your business here, it carries the weight of that trust. It isn't just another ad. It's a recommendation coming from a reliable source. When you advertise on KSL News Radio, you reach a loyal, highly engaged audience who listens intentionally. They show up for breaking news, accurate information, and meaningful conversations. And because of that connection, they respond. And when you pair our on-air credibility with digital tools like display advertising, social media, streaming audio, search, geo-targeting, and retargeting, you get a full funnel strategy that works and reaches the right people at the right time. Get marketing that truly moves the needle. Partner with the voice Utah trusts. KSL. Learn more at kslnewsradio.com/advertise.
Are you looking to find more fairways, hit more greens, and lower your scores? Then it's time for a custom fitting from a Shilaos certified master fitter. Learning from the world's top fitters at Titleist Performance Institute, Callaway Performance Center, and the Ping Proving Grounds, we have the tools and expertise to match the right clubs to your swing for a more consistent game. Elevate your play today. Visit shields.com/expert fitting to schedule your session.
Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Adding more permanent, affordable housing for seniors and veterans, that's the goal of a development expansion on Salt Lake City's west side that just broke ground today. The Fair Park Phase 3 project expands a Housing Plus model designed by the nonprofit Switchpoint, which pairs housing with on-site case management, employment, training, food access, and healthcare navigation. For more on the project, I am joined by Jody Lunt, Director of Development and Philanthropy at Switchpoint.
76 one-bedroom units for low-income seniors and vets. And we're pretty excited about it because it's on the same campus where we already have 94 units. And it will include wraparound services that will help them age in place. So we'll have medical rooms, case management rooms, and then community centers so that they can have their activities all together.
Describe what a difference this is going to make for the community. Have these kinds of things been available before?
Yeah, in our original 94 units, and we also just down the street have another 100 units, but we have over 400 seniors on our waiting list. And so this is a really critical piece to say, hey, if we've got room in our parking lot, let's build some more and, take some pressure off of our waiting list.
How is this development different from other developments that provide these kinds of services?
I think the biggest piece is that in our permanent supportive housing, we make sure that we're building a community where people can belong and that they have everything that they need right on site. So if they have food insecurity, we have a little pantry. Hildegard's Pantry from St. Mark's Episcopal has been amazing at helping us with that. We have group activities. We have lots of group settings. So like AA can meet there, or other types of groups so that they feel like they've got some friends and advocates in their corner. So I think, for us, Switchpoint, when we build something, is we're really trying to say this isn't just housing. This is what I consider Housing Plus, is there's enough there that they feel like they're home and they belong.
Yeah. Talk about the piece about the veterans. How do you actually serve veterans?
Sure. In our partnership with the VA, they identify veterans that need a place to live and that are in that low-income bandwidth. And then their medical team is the one that will service them on site. And so whether that's with home health or any of the things that they need, on a medical level, they come in and do. They also do all the case management. So the PTSD, as an example, they have veteran group meetings where they can meet together. And the VA administers those. They've been a good partner with us. And so this will just make it more robust as we have about 48 that will be moving into this facility.
I see that you have some waiting lists. So kind of describe for me the need for this development.
Yeah. In the last 2 years, we've seen almost a 50% increase just in 2 years of what I would consider our graying homeless. And those are seniors who are getting priced out. So they're on fixed incomes, and they might be on disability or Social Security or a small VA pension, but they can't afford the rent that's going right now. And so they're getting displaced faster than we can find new spots to put them. And that's been, for me, a very critical goal or mission, for SwitchPoint to accomplish, is to try and create deeply affordable housing with all of these services so that they are not put to the street.
Any final thoughts for us?
Nope, just send people to our website, and they can, switchpoint.org, and they can volunteer, they can donate, or they can just see how they can get involved in their own neighborhoods.
Jody Lunt is the Director of Development and Philanthropy at SwitchPoint. Also in attendance at the groundbreaking was Elder Blaine Maxfield of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The church is a key community partner in the project.
Every individual matters. And as we, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, have been involved with this and other projects with SwitchPoint, it's clear to us that they recognize that this is more than housing. This creates dignity. It creates hope. It creates opportunity for those that may have been otherwise marginalized. And so we are so thrilled as we look around this and we look to be involved, what this means for self-reliance, what this means for hope, what this means for opportunity, what this means for dignity, and what this means for each individual.
Leaders for the project say the broad coalition of government, faith, and private sector investment could make a real difference in addressing homelessness in Salt Lake County. You can find more information on the project at SwitchPoint in general at switchpoint.org. The Salt Lake City Council continues their debate and discussion on the future name of Fifth South, which was previously named after the now disgraced civil rights leader Cesar Chavez. It comes after a New York Times report last month accused Chavez of sexually assaulting several women who say they didn't come forward at the time for fear of damaging the workers' rights movement. Salt Lake City Council member Alejandro Puy has suggested Dolores Huerta in his place. Huerta, who is now 96 years old, claims that she was also one of Chavez's victims, but she was also pivotal in the civil rights movement.
Women in positions of leadership are not recognized or sometimes flat out ignored. And this is an opportunity for us to highlight her leadership and the fights and the accomplishments of that movement. I think it's an overdue recognition for this labor icon that really helped change our country for the better.
The council is now asking the public to weigh in.
The premise of the proposal right now is that we are exploring the naming the street Dolores Huerta. People can tell us what they think about that, and that may include, a different name if they so choose. But I already heard from several members of the community that is an appropriate name. Certainly, this is Dolores was the co-founder of the United Farms Workers. She was the driving force on the strategy, and she was the leader, many times overshadowed on the victory. So we think it's very appropriate.
The discussion is expected to happen sometime in the next couple of weeks. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Here's the secret no one's telling you about those trendy weight loss shots. You may have to take them for life, and many people gain the weight back after stopping. With the Salt Lake City Fat Loss Program, there's a better way. The proprietary natural-based program they utilize has helped thousands of people lose weight and keep it off long-term. Imagine losing up to 10 to 20% of your body weight in just 8 weeks without muscle loss, side effects, or yo-yo rebounds. Ready to transform your body for life? Schedule your free personalized consultation today at slcfatloss.com.
I'm Maria Shilaos. Salt Lake City Fat Loss has worked for me because it's just a simple combination of foods that burn fat, not muscle. Plus, I lost the weight without spending a ton of money on medications. I've not only lost more than 40 pounds, I've been given the resources to keep the weight off for good.
Many clients lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two. Schedule your free consultation today by going to slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com. Results may vary.
War in Iran.
Confusion and worry continues to abound this afternoon over the future of the ceasefire agreement between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. The agreement still stands, but it's on shaky ground. The Strait of Hormuz was open for a bit just after the agreement, but then Iran said they were closing it. ABC's Ian Pannell is in the Middle East and says while some ships are getting through the strait right now, it's not completely open access.
This is one of the many kind of key potential stumbling blocks in this agreement that's been made. Before the war, ships were able to travel unfettered through this critical waterway. But now Iran is saying that it will control the flow of maritime traffic through there.
We have seen an uptick of traffic in the strait today, and I will reiterate the president's expectation and demand that the Strait of Hormuz is reopened immediately.
So yes, a couple of ships did go through there, but then because of what was happening in Lebanon with escalating Israeli strikes, there'd been some question mark as to whether the Israeli operation in Lebanon was going to be part of this broader ceasefire. These were the most significant Israeli attacks on Lebanon since it resumed attacking after the war with Iran began. Hezbollah, which is the Iranian-backed proxy group inside Lebanon, had launched attacks towards Israel, and Israel responded, essentially taking over land inside Lebanon and increasing the amount of bombing against what it says are Hezbollah targets. Lebanese authorities are reporting a significant number of civilian casualties there, and Iran responded with outrage, saying this was a breach of the ceasefire, accusing the US of breaching the ceasefire. The White House is making it clear that Lebanon is not part of the deal.
I think the Iranians thought that the ceasefire included Lebanon, and it just didn't. We never made that promise. We never indicated that was going to be the case.
And Iran responded by saying, OK, we will stop the flow of ships through the Strait of Hormuz again. And by the end of the day, despite the ceasefire supposedly in place, we saw Iran launching drone attacks into the Gulf region, as it has done over the last few weeks. So I think there are severe question marks about how viable the ceasefire is and how likely it is to last.
How is the president thinking and feeling about the strait and this uncertain ceasefire agreement? ABC's Jonathan Karl spoke with the president to get his takes.
The recurring theme in kind of our discussions is more an impression of his tone than anything he actually says, but is that he just seems so supremely confident that it's all going to work out. He said the negotiations are going to work out. It's going to happen very quickly. He sounded like a guy ready to move on to the next thing.
But what about the end result? What will the U.S. take away from this conflict, especially if a long-term peace deal is reached? Now, Jonathan gave his analysis on the Start Here podcast with Brad Milkey.
Well, what was won from the view of the administration and from, I think, from our allies in the region is, Iran has been severely diminished in terms of its military capability. It depends whose numbers you believe, but anywhere between 50% to upwards of 80% of its missile capability destroyed, much of its Navy and Air Force destroyed.
Not enough of the Navy to keep the Strait of Hormuz open, though. They still have enough of a Navy for that, apparently.
Well, yeah, it turns out you don't need to have big, huge naval ships to control the Strait of Hormuz. You just need some speedboats that are willing to go on kamikaze missions or some drones to make it dangerous for anybody to attempt to pass through. But look, I mean, there's no question that Iran has withstood a pummeling from the United States and Israeli military. But the bottom line is that they survived. They survived, and if they're able to actually make money charging all the traffic that goes through the Strait of Hormuz, they might have an ability to raise the money to rebuild what was destroyed. So, yes, this wasn't a war that accomplished nothing, but it wasn't a war that achieved the kind of total and complete victory that is being claimed by those officials.
ABC's Jonathan Karl there. Coming up at 2 o'clock, we're going to dig into the long-term and widespread economic impacts of the war, how much it's costing American families, how it's affecting Utah businesses, and so much more. After the break, we'll hear from a few Iranians who live here in the United States to hear how they are doing as the conflict approaches 6 weeks. Are they still feeling the same hope and excitement that they felt in the beginning, or are they still nervous for whatever the future holds? More on that coming up next. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Michelle?
Again, I-15 running smoothly across most of the state. We do have some sizable slowdowns, though. This is just a little south of Nephi when you're making your way southbound between Nephi and Scipio. And then US 89, or Highway 89, I should say, in Mantuway, that's also slow due to construction. Michelle Rowan, the KSL Traffic Center.
It was opening night at Hale Center Theater for The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Victor Hugo's classic tale. I was with my son, Ian, and it was nothing short of spectacular. The staging, the costuming, the music, it's simply breathtaking. And, of course, the actors and the voices. You have to see The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's on the main stage right now at Hale Center Theater. So many of the scenes are never to be forgotten. For example, when Frollo is just struggling with his passion for Esmeralda and his soul, the flames and the tension on the stage is unbelievable. And to see the Hunchback up in the tower with the bells, don't miss Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's underway right now at Hale Center Theater. And continuing, Peter Pan Goes Wrong, that's on the Jewel Box stage, and Hallmarked on the Beehive stage. Get your tickets now, hct.org. Don't miss the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes in new inventory every day. Then they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. So you're invited to visit the movie show Friday 10 to 1, and that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
So as you can see here, the standard deviation compared to the beta tells a whole different story, which of course makes your Sortino ratios off the charts. I mean, where else can you find that geometric adhesion? Naturally, if the ex-dividend date hadn't passed, we'd be even better off, but aligning that with the quantitative technicals, you can see that the risk premium is dictating the pricing models we're currently following, which is really messed up our alpha numbers, but the PE ratios suggest
Yeah, keep going. I'm with you. Sometimes you just need straight common sense talk about your retirement. The Tax-Free Retirement Show, Saturday afternoons at 5.
Can you hear it? That's the sound of nature waking up in Box Elder County. Spring has sprung, and the first visitors are already here. From grebes to geese, Bear River Bird Refuge is alive with the sound of thousands of wings. And it's not just the birds who are invited. There's plenty for you to enjoy. Experience the world-class minerals at Crystal Hot Springs. Stand on the spot where the railroads joined and forged the destiny of a nation at Golden Spike National Historic Park. Check out the jaw-dropping murals up and down Tremonton's charming Main Street. The list goes on and on. Hungry? From fine dining to classic comfort food, Box Elder County has something that's sure to hit the spot. In Box Elder County, the air is fresher, the sky is wider, and spring is in full bloom. Come wake up your senses and plan your spring escape at visitboxeldercounty.com. Produced in partnership with the Utah Office of Tourism.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
All in together now, we can make it better, can we do it? We're open up, because we know how to jump.
Moving and eating better every day can help make you and your kids healthier. Search We Can online to find out more. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
You were listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos.
War in Iran.
As the ceasefire agreement between Iran and the U.S. and Israel holds for now, there's both apprehension and excitement from those here in the States with Iranian backgrounds. Cameron Neakon left Iran when he was 17, but still holds many connections to the people there. He tells KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff he continues to feel a range of conflicting emotions.
If you want freedom, there's a price to be paid, and that price sometimes means dead people and destruction. And some would welcome this equation, and they would say, okay, we're willing to get hurt in the process as long as this evil regime is removed. Many young people felt that way. So when, some price are they willing to pay, but as the price goes higher and higher in maybe casualties or destruction of the different infrastructures, then people start having second thoughts about which side of this dispute they are, because a lot of times they frame it as Islamic Republic of Iran versus U.S. and Israel, and some frame it as Iran versus U.S. and Israel. And, not everybody agrees on that. Some, they say, we may not be happy with the Islamic Republic, but we don't want our country to be destroyed or sent back to the Stone Ages, as Trump once referred this to. So it's a sad situation, and it's everybody is anxious and everybody is hopeful, but nobody knows where we're going.
KSL spoke with Giselle Semnani. She lives here in Utah, but is originally from Iran. She says she's glad the U.S. is doing things right now, but has concerns about the messaging coming out from the administration, saying it could actually help the Iranian regime in their fight to paint the U.S. and Israel as bad or evil.
This is not just me speaking on behalf of myself and my family. I've spoken to many Iranians. We're very well connected. We've been looking on what has happened, and although the Iranian diaspora nor the Iranian people inside Iran speak all with one voice, but the one thing that we all agree on is that this regime has got to go. And when President Trump initially mentioned what he wanted to do with the infrastructure of Iran, I think I can say easily the majority of Iranians were against it, because that doesn't help the United States. It doesn't help the Iranian people. It actually helps the government of Iran, because that's something they are all too happy to use everything they have as propaganda against United States and against Israel, and that was just ammunition for them. That said, I'm just giving you a little bit of background. That said, we have been the past 48 hours, ever since Sunday, I can say, we were on pins and needles, all of us, whether we were for war or we were against the war. Everyone was on pins and needles. It was both yesterday when that happened. You asked specifically about, an hour prior to the threat, President Trump announced that he would not do that. And it was both a sigh of relief. However, I've talked to several people, Iranians are kind of not just lost, we are discouraged. Not that they didn't bomb the infrastructure or they didn't destroy the civilization, but we are left with thinking all throughout this war, President Trump had said that we are with the people, we back the Iranian people, and we feel like talking to this clerical rule. That's not really backing Iranian people. That's keeping the same old, same old. This regime has not changed, although there are people in our government that are saying, yes, there's been a regime change. It really hasn't. They've just changed. They've become actually more hardliners. The new group is more hardliner than Khamenei was.
Additional peace talks are expected to take place Saturday in Pakistan. We'll be sure to follow any developments from those meetings, bringing you updates on air, online, and on the KSL News Radio app. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. One of Utah's most well-known sports players taking his fight over COVID punishments to the U.S. Supreme Court. Cyber crimes on the rise, resulting in a loss of billions of dollars across the country. And KSL traffic, Michelle.
A new crash northbound 7th East at 21st South. Maria.
Enjoy the 70s. Our temperatures are going to dip over the weekend back into the 60s. Right now, 70 degrees downtown. It's 1:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In a surprise announcement at a briefing, First Lady Melania Trump pushed back on claims she says are lies about her connection between her and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. She called on Congress to also allow Epstein victims and survivors to testify and says she was not a victim or witness to any crime.
This was not something that the First Lady's office had teed up or previewed in any way before she was giving those remarks, just saying that she was coming out today at the White House to make an announcement. And she went through with some detail there, but not explaining what, if anything, she was specifically responding to, saying she is not one of Epstein's victims.
ABC's Karen Travers. The fragile ceasefire deal between the U.S. and Iran being tested, with Iran still blocking the flow of much of that tanker traffic through the Strait of Hormuz due to Israel's strikes in Lebanon targeting Hezbollah. Israel says it's ready to hold talks with Lebanon. On Wall Street, stocks are up due to positive economic data. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. A Salt Lake City street, formerly known as Cesar Chavez Boulevard, could soon be named after Dolores Huerta instead. The city removed the previous street name signs after a recent New York Times report detailed sexual assault accusations against the civil rights leader. Now City Council Chair Alejandro Puy is suggesting that Huerta be the replacement. She was not only one of Chavez's victims, but also the co-founder of the workers' rights movement.
Well, I think it's an overdue recognition for this labor icon that really helped change our country for the better.
Bowie says they'll schedule a public hearing in coming weeks for people to express their opinions. Other local stories KSL is following. An American Fork man was taken into custody after police say he exposed himself to children during a road rage encounter. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott reports.
According to Lehigh Police, 55-year-old Mark Richards got into a traffic incident that started with an offensive hand gesture. They say Richards pulled in front of the other driver, forcing their vehicle to stop before getting out and dropping his pants. Police say 3 children were inside that car at the time, and now Richards could be charged with lewdness involving a child. Officials say he drove away after, but was later identified through social media.
Police say they found him naked and confrontational at his home, leading to a minor injury before his arrest. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 330 points, more than 0.5%, sitting at 48,240. S&P up by 44 points, and the NASDAQ up by 174 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big, UCCU. Love where you bank. Michelle?
We have a crash in Sugar House. This is northbound 7th East, 21st South. A center lane is blocked at the moment, so you'll want to use some caution as you're going through that area. We do have I-15 running at good speeds other than some construction causing some sizable delays. This is as you're going through the Mona area and then again as you're going between Nephi and Scipio. Michelle Rowan, the KSL Traffic Center.
Forecast calls for a high today of 75, staying in the 70s through Saturday, then dipping into the 60s for Sunday, 50s on Monday. Right now, 70 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
How was your break? It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code THRIVE25 for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code THRIVE25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up. That's THRIVE25.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
For over 22 years, speaking on KSL News Radio has been a beloved tradition, celebrating our heroic business leaders and Utah consumers who have helped build one of the strongest state economies in the nation. Now, under the stewardship of the Salt Lake Chamber and hosted by Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller, the program continues to shine a spotlight on those who make Utah's business environment dynamic and thriving. With his expertise and passion, Derek brings the stories of our business community to life. As part of the Salt Lake Chamber, Speaking on Business is proud to continue its legacy of highlighting inspiring stories, trends, and special guests. Support Utah businesses now and be part of Utah's thriving economy. More information can be found at slchamber.com. That's slchamber.com.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Former NBA star John Stockton making a last appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court over COVID-19 and whether the government can discipline doctors for what they say publicly. According to our partners at the Deseret News, Stockton filed the lawsuit alongside 2 doctors and a nonprofit against the Washington Medical Commission and that state's attorney general. The doctors had been disciplined during the pandemic for unprofessional conduct after alleging that the COVID vaccine wasn't safe and that COVID tests were not accurate. Let's bring in our KSL legal analyst, Greg Skordas, for more. Greg, thanks for spending a few minutes with me.
You bet.
So what legal standing does John Stockton have in this case, since the doctors were punished, not him?
Yeah, so I don't understand that at all, and I've been looking it over as closely as I can. There were several doctors involved, and he was personally involved. I don't know whether he had made comments similar to the doctors, but really the case was against the Washington Medical Commission, so I don't see how the Washington Medical Commission could have sanctioned John Stockton for something he said. It's really strange that he had any standing. I can see the doctors doing it because they were disciplined, and they're saying, well, we had a First Amendment right to say what we did, but that case was thrown out on First Amendment and due process challenges, and so it's been thrown out by the trial court, by the circuit court, and so they're now asking the Supreme Court to take a look at it.
So describe for us why it was thrown out by the lower court. I mean, why isn't this covered under the First Amendment?
Well, because I think what the courts are trying to say is that the medical commission, that is the Washington Medical Commission, has the right to, I mean, like a doctor can't say you should take, poison, or the doctor can't say you should not get vaccine because they'll kill you or something. So I think what the court was saying was, look, we have these commissions set up to discipline doctors, and you don't have a First Amendment right to espouse something that arguably is untrue. I mean, they're not being prosecuted criminally. They're not doing anything other than just a sanction within their own profession. So that's probably doesn't have the same First Amendment protection as someone who's, say, marching on the street or something like that.
So a board set up by professional organizations is probably different than the government punishing you.
Absolutely, because the government can't restrict your First Amendment rights. But I guess what they're trying to say is that a regulatory board may be able to at least regulate what you say in a professional capacity if it's against medical opinion and medical advice. And what they said was vaccines are unsafe, the COVID tests are inaccurate, and they talked about other treatments that were not proven. And so the medical society there in Washington said, look, what you're telling are lies. This is something that could cause a public health concern. And the court agreed that the doctors didn't have a First Amendment right to do something that was arguably that egregious.
So Stockton and the doctors sent a letter to the High Court this week. Any idea when we might know whether the court will actually take up this case?
So that's another unusual thing. You don't really send the Supreme Court a letter. I mean, you file what's called a petition for a writ of certiorari. In other words, hey, will you take this case up? For some reason, they circumvented that as well and sent them a letter saying, will you take a look at the case? I don't know that the Supreme Court will do much more than the lower court did, the Ninth Circuit. But everything about this case is unusual, Maria. I'll be honest with you, except for the nuts and bolts of the doctors being disciplined for acting outside of what the medical commission felt was legally and ethically appropriate.
So, in your opinion, do you think the Supreme Court will even look at this since it wasn't taken through the proper channels?
Well, I think they have to take a look at it, and I don't mean to be facetious, but they'll look at it long enough to say, see you later. I don't think the Supreme Court's going to take it up. I really don't see the Supreme Court taking this case very seriously, especially where two lower courts have taken it, have dealt with it, and that it probably isn't something the Supreme Court wants to get its hands on.
All right, Greg. Thanks for your time.
You bet.
Greg Skordas is KSL's legal analyst and the co-host of Inside Sources, heard each morning here on KSL. As the historic drought continues across the western United States, federal government is reminding small business owners and nonprofit organizations of a program to receive low-interest disaster loans to offset any economic loss because of the drought. The deadline to apply for the loan is less than a month away on May 8th. And the loan comes through the U.S. Small Business Administration. Joining me live on Midday to talk more about the program is Corey Williams. He is with the Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience with the administration. Corey, thanks for being with me.
Thank you so much, Maria, for having me.
So first of all, Corey, who qualifies for this?
Great question. So this declaration is going to cover the Utah counties of Box Elder, Carbon, Davis, Duquesne. Hopefully I didn't butcher that.
It's Duchesne.
I think that's Duquesne. Or,
Duchesne.
Okay.
Thank you.
Juab, Duquesne, Juab, Morgan, Rich, Salt Lake, San Pete, Summit, Tuweli, because Andy kind of helped me on that one, Utah, Wasatch, and Weber.
Okay, so why are these counties included in this? What are they saying that qualifies them for economic losses?
Yes. So what happened, Maria, that we had the drought that began July 15th of 2025. And, of course, there were a number of economic injury to many of the small businesses and private nonprofit organizations that experienced the drought from July 15, 2025. And basically, these economic injury disaster loans are working capital loans to meet the needs to keep the business sustained that's caused by the drought. And they're even available if the business didn't have any physical damage, because we know most of these declarations, like with drought, it's not physical loss, because you can see, flooding in a home, you can see a house burn, but most people can't see the economic injury caused by a drought.
So what do these businesses have to show to take part or to get these loans?
Great question, Maria. So one of the things that we have a number of our resource partners that they can work with, whether it's a small business development center, their local women's business center, or even a SCORE chapter. But we want to look at their tax returns. So that's because we are a taxpayer subsidized program. So we will look at the tax returns, but anything like their profit and loss or their statement of liabilities, mainly their profit and loss, because we'll be able to identify. So let's say in August of 2025 compared to August of 2024, let's say the business did 10,000 in August of 25, but then they did 30,000 in August of 2024. Well, we can see on paper that's a $20,000 loss just in that 1 month. And what we try to do, Maria, is give at least 6 months of working capital. So by us being able to see the monthly sales figures for the last 3 years, that will allow our processing center in Fort Worth to best be able to determine an amount of the loan that would be a startup for the first 6 months working capital. And then keep in mind that they can request increases in loan amounts for up to 2 years from the date of their approval.
So, Corey, have many businesses already applied for this? I mean, what's the need? That's a lot of counties out there.
It is, Maria. And the one thing, that's why we're really trying to get the word out, and I want to thank you for having us on the show, is there may be a number of businesses and private nonprofits that just do not want to apply because it is a loan. I mean, and it does have to be repaid, but it's a very low interest loan, Maria. The interest rate for businesses is at 4%. The interest rate for private nonprofits is at 3.625%. And keep in mind, there's no payment due for an entire year and no interest accrual for an entire year as well. And then the loan is amortized up to 30 years.
So I only have a few seconds here, but do they have to use it for a specific purpose, the money?
So great question. So it is to be used for paying down fixed debts, payroll, accounts payable, or other bills that are not paid due to the disaster. So essentially, it's to keep the business operational during this drought period. So in 2024, let's just say things were going well. There was not any drought, and the business had no real economic injury. But in 2025, because of the drought, we can see that there's, a $20,000 shortfall in August. And then let's say in September, as we go September to September 2024, let's say there was, $40,000 of revenue. September 2025, there's $20,000 revenue. Where we have another $20,000. So essentially, that economic injury is what we're trying to address with this declaration.
Corey, I wish I had more time. Thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you so much, Maria. Look forward to talking to you soon. And if anybody has any questions, they can always call our customer service number, 1-800-659-2955.
And Corey Williams is Public Affairs Supervisor with the Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience with the U.S. Small Business Administration. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
We want to talk about SOTA Diet and Nutrition. SOTA stands for state of the art. And Andy and I both let go of massive amounts of weight. You more than me.
70 pounds in 5 months.
And I did 37 pounds in 3 months. And what worked for me was so many things. Talking to a nutritionist every week and having her tell me what to eat. I can do as I'm told.
Yeah.
But I have no clue where to begin.
And I needed the help too. It's just food. There's no pills, no injections. So you learn how to both let go of the weight and then how to keep it off.
So SOTA Diet and Nutrition is a great place to start. But if you started with pills or medications and you find yourself starting to gain some weight back, SOTA Diet and Nutrition is a great way to learn how to have a new relationship with food to go into the future.
You can talk with a nutritionist by calling 866-800-SOTA, S-O-T-A, or you can go to their website, sotadietandnutrition.com.
Join now and your partner joins for free. 2 people, real accountability for the price of 1.
Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
Cyber crimes are taking a toll in Utah and around the country, with victims losing large amounts of money. The FBI reporting this week that Americans are losing tens of billions of dollars to these criminals. KSL.com reporter Pat Reevy is covering the story. And Pat, what have you learned?
Well, it's kind of a scary report that's been put out, but the FBI on Monday put out a report that said that cyber-enabled crimes defrauded Americans of nearly $21 billion in 2025.
And do we have any idea how many of those are in Utah?
We don't know how many are in Utah. I mean, what turned me on to this story was I found a case out in Salt Lake County where a person had been falling victim to one of these scams. It appears to be one of these scams. There have been no arrests yet, but this person has lost over $200,000 from what is believed to be what's called a pig butchering scam. And that's when a scammer online strikes up a relationship with the victim. It could be, through a business relationship or a social media or even a romantic relationship, but they try and gain the victim's trust, and they gradually introduce the victim to an investment opportunity. So they will then move to another app like the WhatsApp and continue talking with these people regularly. And once the scammer has the victim's trust, then they'll try and set up an account and make them purchase things, and then they'll make it look like they're getting artificial gains. And the next thing you know, the victims invest a lot of money, and then they can no longer, access those funds, and the money is all gone. So those are the kind of scams that are being looked at nationwide and in Utah. What's interesting is the FBI also Monday reported that last year they received over 1 million complaints, which in 2024 they had under 900,000. And the FBI is reporting that phishing and spoofing and extortion and investment scams are the most frequently reported complaints. Now, a couple of other stats from the FBI I thought were really interesting is that Americans who over 60 years old are the ones who reported $7 billion in losses in 2025, and that's up 37% from the year before. And also I found it interesting that in the report that investment fraud remains the primary driver for all the scams, but those who invested in cryptocurrency reported the highest losses, with totaling more than $11 billion in 2025.
Pat, are any of these victims seeing any sort of compensation? Are they able to get any of their money back, including the victim that you spoke with?
The victim in Utah I wrote about, the case is still under investigation. These are typically hard cases for police to track down and try and figure out who's committing these crimes. Sometimes they're not even in the U.S. or in North America. They could be happening elsewhere. So the FBI has put out a lot of PSAs to try and prevent people from falling victim to these scams. But arrest rates, I don't have the numbers, but I know it's not very high.
Okay. And then you, in your story, flagged a company called, is it Apple Finance or APL Finance?
Yeah, well, this victim in Salt Lake fell victim to what's called APL Finance, and that's actually been flagged by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation in California, who has also tracked down or flagged that website as a fraudulent platform. Apparently, they work under both the APL Finance or APL Management, and it's just, again, people claiming to be financial advisors, and they want you to download the app, but then they switch to another app, and next thing you know, you're out a lot of money.
Pat Reevy is a reporter for KSL.com. After the break, we'll get a recap on the BYU sports season that just wrapped up and what's in store for next year. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at UCCU.com. Michelle?
We've got some big slowdowns going on in Centerville, northbound I-15, starting right about 400 north, headed up to Glover's Lane. I did see a little bit of a highway patrol slowdown, but no reports of the reason why. While you're planning for your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Are you looking for a fun way to get your kids outside and off their screens this spring? Try flower gardening. Starting a beautiful flower bed or easy container garden is a great hands-on way to spend quality time together while teaching kids about nature. They'll love digging in the dirt, picking out their favorite flowers, and watching them bloom, all while making real, lasting memories. Plus, gardening is a great way to slow down, soak up some sunshine, and enjoy the fresh air as a family. This is Brian with Olson's Greenhouse, and my family has been growing flowers with care for 4 generations right here in Utah. Whether you have a big sunny backyard or just a small shady front porch, our colorful, locally grown flowers make it easy to add beauty to your home. So this spring, start with a new family tradition, one that grows with your kids. Get inspiration at Olson's Greenhouse Gardens on Instagram or find a garden center near you at ogg.com. That's ogg.com for Olson's Greenhouse Gardens.
Looking for something fun to win this week? Head to ksl.com/win and enter now. We're giving you the chance to score tickets to the Disney Worlds Collide concert tour or cheer on Real Salt Lake with tickets to a variety of games this season. It's quick, easy, and free to enter. So don't miss out. Visit ksl.com/win today and see what you could be winning this week. ksl.com/win. Good luck.
Join KSL in the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1 at the Salt Lake NPS store, 1600 Empire Road in Salt Lake City, npsstore.com.
Salt Lake City, this is your final boarding call, extended by popular demand. Titanic, the exhibition, is sailing away soon. Don't miss your last chance to experience the heartbreaking and heroic stories of her passengers and crew. See the incredible artifacts before the doors close forever on April 19th at the shops at Southtown and Sandy. Get your tickets before they're gone at thetitanicexhibition.com. That's thetitanicexhibition.com.
Progressive presents a guided meditation.
Hear the birds sing. A chipmunk nibbling on an acorn. Smell the pine needles gently falling into your living room as the breeze blows through the gaping hole in your roof. Gaze up at that broken tree branch and relax because you bundled your home and auto with Progressive and have the peace of mind of 24/7 protection. So relaxing.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Trying to make sense of the markets? Looking to diversify out of all the craziness? Thinking about tangible assets like precious metals? Listen to The Gold Show with Alan Johnson right here on KSL at 3 p.m. Sunday afternoons. Stay up to date on retirement trends, how the IRA rollover process works, and why investors are turning to physical gold. Alan is a national talk show host with decades of experience in the markets. Tune in for Alan's Insights and The Gold Show this Sunday afternoon at 3.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The disappointing end to BYU's basketball season and the exit of A.J. Devonsa has fans wondering if the team will generate the same national conversation next year.
BYU, if they retain guys like Rob Wright III at point guard, they'll still be a team that's viewed as a preseason top 25 team potentially. And we've learned that with Kevin Young that he's pretty good at assembling rosters and getting talent into the program to compete at a national level. And through 2 years, they have gone to the NCAA tournament, won 2 games through 2 years. And BYU, I think, will be in a position to be viewed as one of the better teams in the Big 12, but it's still one of the best leagues in the country. And so they got to retool and go through the transfer portal to build it up.
But KSL's BYU insider Mitch Harper says the team is going to have some big positions to fill.
But BYU has openings on their roster, and they need to retool. And shooting is going to be a top priority, according to Kevin Young, in building out this roster. And also size in the front court. That's going to be a top priority for BYU because they have to replace Keba Keita, who was the starting center the past 2 years. And they probably need more offensive firepower at that center position. So size and shooting, probably what every team wants in the transfer portal, but those are going to be 2 top priorities for BYU.
Harper tells KSL News Radio's Reagan Edelman there are some key things that BYU needs to do in the constant rebuilding mode created by the transfer portal. He also says that Coach Kevin Young is still learning college basketball after spending most of his career in the NBA, and he'll adjust as he enters year 3.
When you've got an ability to be able to get into the conversation for top-end talent, that's a nice starting point that BYU has never operated in that space ever until Kevin Young arrived. And the program has full resources and support of Kevin Young to try to reach as high as he can go with this sport. I mean, BYU is looking to elevate its program to a point where they become a national player every single year. And, that's going to be the challenge in front of them. But I think that they've got the right guy to do it. They just got to get a little bit better on the defensive end and have some good fortunes when it comes to their health and find some guys that can knock down shots consistently. If they can do that, they'll be back in a situation where they could be a team in the NCAA tournament making a run again.
That is KSL's BYU insider Mitch Harper. KSL News Radio, your legacy home of the BYU Cougars.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The cost of the war taking a toll on Utah families across the state and the country. Folks are having to make some difficult financial decisions as the cost of goods and services continue to rise.
Given that so many consumers were already at their breaking point and really starting to pull back on the discretionary items, unfortunately, these price increases will force families to choose between the essentials. You're going to see families choose between putting gas in the tank at the pump so that they can get to work versus paying to keep their air conditioning on this summer.
Economists saying even if the war ended today, it will be months before prices stabilize. The time is 2 o'clock on Thursday, April 9th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, the cost of conflict. We have special coverage looking at the overall increase in the cost for American families, how Utah small business owners are dealing with the higher prices, and how the overall global uncertainty is affecting the job market. Also this hour,
saw a huge increase in over 100 miles an hour.
Utah's enhanced reckless driving law in effect now for 4 years. We'll get details on whether or not troopers are seeing a decrease in reckless driving. But first, our top stories. A Utah man convicted of killing his ex-wife is now being accused of sexually abusing a child. 62-year-old Johnny Brickman Wall is accused of inappropriately touching a 7-year-old patient while he was a doctor back in 2011 and 2012. Today, Commissioner Todd Olson issued a protective order prohibiting Wall from having any contact with the victim.
Mr. Wall, do you understand what I've just told you with the protective order?
I believe I do.
Wall appeared remotely from the state prison in Gunnison. He is currently serving 15 years to life for the murder of his ex-wife in 2011. Our top national story from ABC News. Iran and the U.S. still at odds over whether or not Lebanon was part of their ceasefire agreement. Vice President J.D. Vance says it all boils down to a simple misunderstanding. Now some questions about how this will impact peace talks scheduled between the two countries in Pakistan this weekend.
I think stepping back here, when you look at this, with Vance now the lead negotiator for the United States, him talking about a misunderstanding with the ceasefire negotiations, it doesn't really set up a great scenario going into the broader talks to end the bigger conflict and address issues that have been on the table for months, if not years, between the U.S. and Iran, if there is such a fundamental disagreement about what was taking place in negotiations for just the 2-week ceasefire at this point.
That is ABC's Karen Travers. covers. Other national stories KSL is following. The crew of the Artemis II is expected to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere tomorrow night. Retired NASA astronaut Susan Kilrain says the crew can make some adjustments should the weather take a turn.
They will adjust that splashdown zone to a more favorable weather condition. They have to come home, so they just are going to pick the splashdown zone that best fits all the circumstances, and weather is a major part of that.
Right now, the plan is to splash down in the Pacific Ocean near San Diego. Taking a look at your money at this moment, markets have been in positive territory for the day. At the close, the Dow up by 275 points, more than 0.5%, sitting at 48,185. S&P up by 41 points. The NASDAQ up nearly a full percent, up 187 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Michelle?
Whatever was causing the delays northbound I-15 in Centerville, that has eased. Still just a little bit of residual slowdown going through that area between 400 North in Centerville, headed up toward Glover Lane. If your roof needs repair or replacement, do it now during S&S Roofing's huge spring sale. Flexible financing options available. Get the best value on the highest quality roofing job. Get a quote today at snsroofingutah.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Clouds are starting to clear here in downtown Salt Lake City, headed for a high of 75, 77 tomorrow. 30% chance of showers on Saturday and 50% chance on Sunday. 70 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Right now, water heaters are on sale at Any Hour Services. Schedule a free estimate today to see how much you'll save. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-979-3535. That's 800-979-3535. 800-979-3535.
It's spring. You get outside and it's obvious your house needs painting. Make an appointment with CertaPro Painters. They'll give you a free estimate quickly and at the right price. And they make the entire process easy with reliable updates and communication. They know how important your home is to you. True professionals, they're committed to quality and exceptional service at the right price. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Since the war in Iran began 6 weeks ago, the world has seen a huge spike in the cost for a slew of things, including gasoline, diesel, plastics, and fertilizer, all things that relied heavily on the Strait of Hormuz being open. The biggest cost for most Utahns is with gas and diesel. The average cost for a gallon of gasoline in the state today is $4.26. For diesel, it's even worse, $5.39. With the amount of goods transported thanks to gasoline and diesel, the costs have a trickle-down effect on almost everything we use every single day. This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The cost of conflict. We have a special half hour digging into the costs of the war in Iran on American families, Utah small business owners, and the job market as a whole. We begin with the cost to American families who have already seen gas and diesel prices skyrocket in the past 2 months. But what about the other costs? I spoke with Liz Pancotti, Managing Director of Policy and Advocacy at Groundwork Collaborative, to get details on some of the other costs of the war.
We were already seeing persistent inflation over the past year, and we had really stalled progress on fighting inflation after progress in 2024. And unfortunately, Trump's war in Iran will only drive prices higher, especially in energy, but in many, many other sectors, including groceries and electronics.
Yeah, can you be a little bit more specific about what Americans are paying more for thanks to the war?
The most immediate effect in terms of price hikes is going to be those prices at the pump. If anyone has filled up over the last few weeks, they have noticed that average gas prices are over $4 a gallon and diesel is nearly $6. But in addition to those prices at the pump, most immediately here over the next couple of months, we will see price increases on things like fertilizer affect grocery prices, price increases in semiconductors flow through to electronics and plastics, which largely flow through the Strait of Hormuz and are, of course, a product produced with petroleum, will be affected by those oil price hikes. And so it is really going to affect all sectors of our economy. The prices at the pump are just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, electronics isn't something that we've really talked about. Explain how they are going to be affected.
We already had, ahead of Trump's war in Iran, semiconductor shortages that were beginning to bubble up to the surface. And, the war is just going to put even additional pressure on that inflation, whether it be in, automobiles or electronics. I think we are really looking at something like the chips crisis that we faced in 2022 as surging demand from AI data centers is already absorbing the existing global semiconductor supply as we see shortages from the blockage of the Strait of Hormuz. That is really going to flow through to higher prices for electronics over the next 1 to 2 years.
So when we talk about this instability created by the war, how does that affect our buying habits? What are consumers kind of going through right now when they're thinking about big purchases?
It's really unfortunate because even before the start of the war, we had already seen a pullback in consumer spending with many executives of retail corporations saying that especially low and middle income families were pulling back on discretionary goods. So really just able to afford the basics, if that. Walmart's CEO, for example, said that they were seeing a slowdown in spending on snacks or kind of the fun stuff at the grocery store, and folks really just focusing on the basics given price increases and things like beef over the past year. And so I think what we will see, given that so many consumers were already at their breaking point and really starting to pull back on the discretionary items, unfortunately, these price increases will force families to choose between the essentials. You're going to see families choose between putting gas in the tank at the pump so that they can get to work versus paying to keep their air conditioning on this summer.
So given that, how are they thinking about things like buying a home or buying a car or invest or traveling, to say the least?
Travel is an interesting one, just given what we're seeing in airfares already due to massive increases in jet fuels. Airfare prices ahead of, spring break right now and summer break coming up really soon. I expect to see a lot fewer Americans traveling by plane, given the jet fuel price increases, and by car, given the prices at the pump. So I think summer vacations are going to be largely on hold if they weren't booked prior to the start of the war. And even if they were, we're going to see a lot of airlines pulling back on flights and canceling them as we see jet fuel shortages around the world, especially in Europe. And then on things like buying a home or buying an automobile, unfortunately, borrowing costs are surging as a result of the war. We've already seen mortgage rates tick back up, and I think people can rule out any further progress from the Federal Reserve on lowering interest rates throughout the year, given increases in inflation.
Are there some creative ideas, or do you have some creative ideas for people to save money?
Unfortunately, I think the one thing that would save people money in this particular moment is a swift as possible end to the war. We will, of course, be monitoring the situation to see if this 2-week ceasefire sticks and if the Strait of Hormuz does indeed open up. But the scale of this is so much larger than any individual consumer's actions. And so, unfortunately, I think it is just not on the burden is not on individual consumers to make choices to save money here, which is, I know, not a desirable answer, but it is, the scale of this is just so much bigger than that.
Any other things that you expect if the war continues for very long?
I think the big thing I am monitoring is prices at the grocery store. Fertilizer prices have massively increased already as a result of the war. So much of fertilizer comes from that side of the world and just can't get through to the United States. About 25% of farmers had not yet purchased fertilizer for this growing season at the start of the war. And so for those folks, it'll be affected in that fall harvest time, and we'll see grocery prices reflect that here in the latter half of the year. But if this wages on for much longer, it will really start to affect next year's harvest season, and we could see increased prices at the grocery store for 1 to 2 years as a result of the conflict if it wages on for much longer.
Yeah, and then when we talk about plastics, how might that affect our grocery store prices as well?
Yeah, I mean, so much of what we buy at the grocery store is packed in plastics, whether it's a bag of chips for your kid's lunchbox or, produce that's packed in plastic. And so it will really flow through to many, many inputs. And I think, as I said before, it is one of these things that while right now we are feeling it at the prices at the pump, that is really just the tip of the iceberg and what we will see in the months to come if this wages on for much longer.
Liz Pancotti is the Managing Director of Policy and Advocacy at Groundwork Collaborative. In just a few minutes, we'll talk about the effect the conflict is having on Utah business owners. And in 10 minutes or so, the cost of the conflict as it relates to the job market and hiring trends. Stay with us.
Are you stuck staring at your W-2? Are tax refund worries holding you back? You probably have FOMO, the fear of messing up. The fix? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. It's time to overcome your fear of messing up and get your taxes done right. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Taxes could be your biggest expense in retirement. More than housing, more than healthcare, or anything else. And many retirees will overpay their taxes by tens of thousands of dollars every single year. Learn how you could significantly reduce your taxes in retirement at a free event with retirement tax expert Becky Swansburg on Thursday, April 23rd at 6:30 p.m. in downtown Salt Lake. It's hosted by Boss Retirement Solutions. Becky worked in the White House and on Capitol Hill on tax policy, and she has the inside track on the proven strategies that could lead to a windfall of savings in retirement. This event is free, but seating is limited. So reserve your free ticket now by calling this number, 801-850-6988. That number one more time, 801-850-6988.
For informational purposes only, not tax, legal, or investment advice. Speaker is not a client and does not endorse BOSS. Speaker compensation creates a conflict of interest.
As we look closer at the economic effects of the war in Iran and the global uncertainty as a whole, how are Utah business owners faring? Cost of conflict. Let's continue our deep dive with President Mary C. Daly, President of the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. She was just in Utah this week talking to business owners about the struggles and successes that they are seeing. President Daly, thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
So how has this global uncertainty affected Utah's business owners?
It's really interesting. Everyone feels uncertain. There is no doubt about that. But businesses are doing what they did last year after Liberation Day, after the tariffs were announced. They're putting their heads down, figuring out what they want to do to grow their business effectively, being cautious but optimistic, and getting with the business, as they said yesterday when I was in St. George, that really continuing on because the future of Utah felt bright to them, and the future of the economy, the fundamentals feel stable and solid, but there is this uncertainty, and while they wish it would go away, they're not getting out of the economic game. They're keeping their feet moving forward and keeping their business outlook positive.
As you heard in the last segment, I talked about how increased costs are impacting families. What are some of the increased costs these businesses are experiencing?
Well, certainly everyone, families, businesses are experiencing increasing prices for energy. So whether you're driving somewhere and you're paying higher prices at the pump, or you're just using fuels to fuel your businesses, you are feeling that pain, that concern. And they're wondering how long it will last. Now, many businesses, airlines, et cetera, they have forward contracts on these supplies of gasoline and other fuels. And so they're somewhat insulated, but they're going to start thinking about buying even more future-oriented contracts, and there the pricing will go up. So I think the main message I heard was it's not particularly painful today, but the pain is on its way, and we hope that the conflict resolves quickly so that we can avoid the worst of it.
So, of course, they must have a business plan based on two different contingencies here, one that the war is going to end soon and one that it's not. How do they do that? I mean, what does that look like?
We know it's very similar to how we think about monetary policy. The way you look at it is, what are the fundamentals of the economy, abstracting from the conflict? What do the fundamentals look like? Are consumers still in the market demanding goods and services? Are they still able to find workers? Do they still see value in investing in technology? Do they still see value in creating their products and growing their business? And the answers are yes. And so they have a plan for how they'll continue should that be all they're dealing with. But now they have this uncertainty about the war and the oil prices and other energy prices. And so they have another set of plans that, okay, what would I do if I faced higher costs for a longer period? Or if my demand from consumers or other businesses fell off because people can't afford it or businesses can't afford it or don't want to expand as much, what would I do? And so they have, I would say it's the growth plan and the how do you continue to do your business but not necessarily have the growth plans that move forward, break new ground on businesses, expand your services, et cetera. So, and right now they're not pulling the trigger on the contingency. They're really just brushing off the books, making sure they have it, making sure they've met with their boards and other leadership to say this is what we would do if this would happen, but everyone's still hoping for the war to be resolved soon and oil prices to come back down and we go back to the fundamentals of the economy, which were positive before the conflict started.
There has been so much confusion over tariffs. Tariffs are on, tariffs are off, they're on certain things. What are those businesses telling you that they are seeing? Are they seeing tariffs? How are they affecting them?
Well, right now, the businesses that were tariffed are scrambling to see if they're exempt from the tariffs going forward, no matter how they would come about, and whether they'll be eligible for the kind of refunds and other things that people have talked about. I don't think anyone knows for sure at this point what that lay of the land is, but there was a little bit of relief, if I may say, for the idea that the tariffs aren't front and center right now, but now they have another issue they have to deal with, which is higher energy prices. So I think they're just managing the world. One of the businesses we talked to said that uncertainty has just become our new normal. So you get used to working in uncertainty, and that's okay because we are resilient and we know how to do this, and we will get through the challenges that uncertainty brings. Also, they just feel pretty optimistic, absent that uncertainty, about the Utah economy. So they have the momentum, but they're not being foolish on that momentum, as one put it. They're just thinking about the momentum's there, but we're going to be cautiously optimistic, and cautiously is double underlined.
I appreciate your time. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you.
President Mary C. Daly, President of the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. Our special coverage, Cost of Conflict, continues after the break with a look at how the war in Iran is also affecting the job market. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. Michelle?
Traffic's starting to slow down just a little bit southbound I-15, right around 90th South. And then Legacy, we're seeing some really solid delays if you're making your way northbound. This is going between Woods Cross and Bountiful. While you're planning your day plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store, find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
For over 22 years, speaking on business on KSL News Radio has been a beloved tradition, celebrating our heroic business leaders and Utah consumers who have helped build one of the strongest state economies in the nation. Now, under the stewardship of the Salt Lake Chamber, and hosted by Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller. The program continues to shine a spotlight on those who make Utah's business environment dynamic and thriving. With his expertise and passion, Derek brings the stories of our business community to life. As part of the Salt Lake Chamber, Speaking on Business is proud to continue its legacy of highlighting inspiring stories, trends, and special guests. Support Utah businesses now and be part of Utah's thriving. More information can be found at slchamber.com. That's slchamber.com. Ready for your next vehicle? At Performance Automotive in Bountiful, your new Ford, Toyota, or Honda is here. Built for Utah communities, canyon weekends, and everything in between. Choose capability with Ford, long-lasting reliability with Toyota, or smooth efficiency with Honda. Backed by friendly experts and financing options that fit your budget. Visit Performance Ford, Performance Toyota, and Performance Honda for your test drive. Browse inventory, check pricing, and schedule your visit at performancebountiful.com. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, driven to be the best.
Bad driving habits are hard to break, but good driving habits are easy to form, especially when they can lead to a discount on your auto insurance. With Farm Bureau Financial Services, the safer you drive, the more you save. Drivers like you are saving an average of $321 per vehicle. So buckle up, learn more, and find an agent at fbfs.com/save. Individual savings results may vary. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. As we look at the cost of conflict, we are talking about the actual cost of goods going up and the uncertainty facing business owners. Part of that uncertainty around business could also be contributing to a slowdown of hiring. Yesterday, I spoke with Ben Crabb from the Utah Department of Workforce Services, and he told me Utah's job growth looks good for now, but there's a noticeable hesitation among employers to hire new people.
Those who are looking for work are still able to find a position, although employers are a little bit more hesitant to fill open positions at the current time.
And what does your analysis say about their hesitation? I mean, we know we have, of course, the war in Iran that we're concerned about, but what are some of the other things that they're concerned about?
Yeah, just the overall environment of uncertainty, policy uncertainty are leading employers to be a bit hesitant on filling open positions. You know, if the perfect candidate walks through their door, they're likely to add them to the head count, but otherwise they're not in a big hurry to hire.
Let's go deeper into this potential cost of the war and overall global instability with Corey Staley, a Utah-based economist at the Indeed Hiring Lab. Corey, thanks for being with me.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the trends that you were seeing in the job market over the last 2 months or so since the war in Iran began.
Yeah, so what we're seeing is very much the same thing in terms of this uncertainty that is causing some hesitation amongst employers. You know, we sit at a pretty cool data perch within Indeed where we're able to see what's going on kind of in real time. And what that data is showing us is that there hasn't really been much of a pullback in hiring since the war began, but there also hasn't really been a pickup either. And so that tells us, you know, employers are just kind of sitting still. They're kind of in this holding pattern, trying to figure out what to do because they're just not sure where all of this is going to lead, you know, and how it's going to potentially impact their costs and their businesses.
Job market has seen such a roller coaster over the last few years. What do you make of it?
Yeah, so I mean, it's been a really interesting ride. Like we came out of the pandemic with really, really strong job growth, and then the Federal Reserve raised interest rates to kind of cool down that job growth, and that has been successful. Right, we've seen the labor market continuing to slow, but I do think it's still interesting, you know, that whenever we see the government reports, we're still seeing jobs being created. The Indeed data shows that we're still seeing more job postings available than there were before the pandemic. You know, so there are still some opportunities out there, but I think one of the concerning things is if we look at where jobs are being added right now across the U.S., it's mostly in just healthcare jobs. And that obviously creates some challenges, you know, if you're not working in healthcare. And ultimately, we can't, you know, all be nurses in the long run. Like we need to get a better mix of jobs being created.
We are coming up on graduation time at colleges and universities. What should these graduates know as they head into the job market? I know a lot of them are very negative about their chances of getting a really good full-time job.
Yeah, it's a really hard time, for recent graduates because you not only have this kind of macroeconomic environment of uncertainty, with, the war and tariffs and immigration policy, but then we layer on top of that AI and kind of some of the questions around what AI is going to do to the job market as well. What I would say on a lot of those points, though, is we are seeing that, a lot of this looks to be part of the business cycle. So if you're a recent graduate, focus on learning AI, but also remember that a career is something that's not built over the course of a year or two. It's something that you should be building over the course of decades, right? So start thinking long-term, watch where kind of the opportunities are panning out. And so you might be entering into a time where hiring is low now, but I imagine we'll see that start to open up in the coming years as kind of we gain more certainty in the world.
Some of those college graduates are hesitant to take part-time jobs or on-call jobs, saying that it doesn't paint a very good picture of their skills. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that taking the right part-time job, could be a good move, right, for some graduates, right? If it gets you some of the skills and some of the experience that could dovetail into something more full-time, I think that's something to be open to. But at the same time, I mean, as a graduate, as a worker, only you can really judge, right, kind of where your match sits in the market. But I would say, definitely be open to some of those more flexible types of jobs because they might be the type of thing that can kind of get your foot in the door, help you get some skills, and lead to something down the road.
Yeah, I don't want to paint a picture of complete gloom and doom here because we know that that's not what's happening right now. So what do you see on the horizon that would give college graduates, for example, optimism about the job market?
I think that right now, again, one of the things that we can look at optimistically is that, yes, again, things have been kind of up and down, a real roller coaster, especially in the last year. But at the same time, we're seeing a lot of excitement in the labor market in some different areas. Again, healthcare is growing, but we're also seeing a lot of opportunities, emerging in some of these other areas, like AI. And so I think that, as we're looking towards, the future, again, be focusing on kind of where things are heading because, people are going to need goods and services and, that's not going away anytime soon, even if AI disrupts some things in the labor market, so I think that really being optimistic around the potential for us to kind of pull out of where we're at in the business cycle is kind of the best path to take right now.
All right, Corey, appreciate your time. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you.
Corey Staley is an economist at the Indeed Hiring Lab. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. As we move into the warmer summer months, we are taking a closer look at reckless driving on Utah's roads. A groundbreaking today to build dozens of affordable permanent housing units for Utah's seniors and veterans. And KSL traffic, Michelle.
A little slowing southbound I-15 at 7200 South. Maria?
And we do have breaking news on KSL News Radio. A former Box Elder judge charged with possession of child sexual abuse material has entered a plea deal. Kevin Christensen pleaded guilty to one charge of enticing a minor and two charges of dealing materials harmful to a minor, all third-degree felonies. In return, prosecutors dropped 5 other charges against him. We have a reporter at the Ogden courtroom, and we'll continue to follow this story throughout the afternoon, so make sure you tune in to Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News. KSL's other top story, the Salt Lake City Council is now seeking public input on what honorary name to give 500 South now that Cesar Chavez Boulevard is no more. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson has that story.
The city took down signs honoring civil rights leader Cesar Chavez after a New York Times report last month with claims from several women that he sexually assaulted them as teens decades ago. Now they're looking for a new name to go up in its place. Salt Lake City Council Chair Alejandra Puy has suggested Dolores Huerta as the replacement. She's a strong Latina leader from that same workers' rights movement. She coined the phrase Si se puede, which is still used by activists today, but she's also recently claimed to be a survivor of Chavez's assaults.
The public will have a chance to weigh in on the name change. The City Council says a hearing will be scheduled in the next week or two. Other local stories KSL is following. Young adults are more independent in Salt Lake City than other parts of the state. A new Kempsey Gardner report found people between the ages of 18 and 24 in other parts of Utah are nearly 2 times more likely to live with their parents than those in Salt Lake. Reporter-author Heidi Pryor says that there is some logic to that.
Salt Lake City has so many different higher education institutions. There's the University of Utah and Westminster and multiple other colleges that draw young adults from other parts of the state.
Excuse me, she's the report's author. This age group also makes up the largest amount of renters in the city. Taking a look at your money at this moment, markets optimistic today. The Dow up by 276 points at the close, more than 0.5%, sitting at 48,185. S&P up by 41 points. The Nasdaq up nearly a full percent, up 187 points. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Michelle?
Still looking at some pretty sizable delays on Legacy Parkway. This is northbound going between Woods Cross and Bountiful. Now, if you're headed southbound I-15, those delays at the south interchange have cleared, but the northbound delays have now set in. This is going between the South Belt, headed up to 5300 South. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
And our temperatures are inching up, headed for a high today of 75, 77 tomorrow. Before they start to decline, we're going to be down to 55 degrees by early next week on Monday. Right now, 72 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Every day on your way home, you pass it. That one lawn so thick and deep green, it belongs in the big leagues. It sets the bar for the entire street, making every other lawn look like it's still waiting for a wake-up call. Look for the sign of a winner. Big League Lawns. Now, it's your turn. Level the playing field and get the results your home deserves. Go home to a Big League Lawn.
Are mosquitoes still ruining your nights? The kids are finally outside, the string lights are glowing, and the swatting starts. Don't let mosquitoes steal your summer. Call Skeeter Eater, a Utah company built for backyards like yours. Our family-friendly treatments and smart mosquito traps keep the fun going long after sunset. Fewer bites, happier nights, and peace of mind that lasts all season. Book now and get $40 off your first treatment at SkeeterEater.com. Skeeter Eater. Stop the bites. Start the fun.
The Children's Center Utah provides a unique service in our communities by meeting the needs of very young children and their caregivers. Here's another Little Minds Big Hope message from Dr. Jennifer Mitchell, the Children's Center Vice President of Clinical Strategy and Innovation.
Did you know when young children act out, they may be trying to communicate something they don't yet have the words for? Behavior is often a signal that a child needs support. Find out more at childrencenterutah.org.
Are you looking to find more fairways, hit more greens, and lower your scores? Then it's time for a custom fitting from a Shields certified master fitter. Learning from the world's top fitters at Titleist Performance Institute, Callaway Performance Center, and the Ping Proving Grounds, we have the tools and expertise to match the right clubs to your swing for a more consistent game. Elevate your play today. Visit shields.com/expert fitting to schedule your session.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. As we move closer to the summer months, Utah Highway Patrol is reminding Utah drivers to slow down and pay more attention. Their warning coming as the state approaches 4 years of an enhanced reckless driving law.
The bill was reaction to what we had seen prior to 2022. COVID saw a huge increase in over 100 miles an hour violations in which state troopers specifically saw out on the highways, myself included, stopping people for over an excess of 100 miles an hour.
That is UHP Major Chamberlain Neff. He says drivers tend to drive fastest in the summer months as the weather gets nice and the roads are typically in better quality.
It does range everywhere from I didn't realize I was going that fast to I was late. really, those are really the ranges of explanations that we are hearing from state troopers across the state. One of two things can happen, and it really is up to the discretion of law enforcement. So in our situation, troopers can cite for the Class B misdemeanor, or there is the arrestable offense. So in an arrestable offense situation, the car will be impounded.
Are there any kinds of vehicles that tend to drive faster? Major Neff says, it varies a lot.
Depends on the type of vehicle, right? So vehicles, in my experience, I have seen 120 miles an hour with vehicles. Motorcycles, I have seen here along the valley, which I've worked primarily my whole career, I have seen motorcycles up over 150, 160 miles an hour that do travel along the interstate, down Parley's Canyon, and so forth.
He says speeding also depends on the time of day or night, and that it happens more often on rural Utah roads.
Typically, in the middle of the night when there's really no vehicles on the interstate, or there's less amount of vehicles on the interstate, it tends to be wide open. Down in rural Utah, where there is straight, flat, wide open, 2-lane, there tends to be quite an increase. The speed limit is 80 plus miles an hour that's down there. And so there is probably the message that a lot of people tend to accept is that you can go 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, and if it's 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour is okay, and if 90 miles an hour is okay, a little bit more than that's okay, and that's just not the message that we're here to send. The speed limit is very much the speed limit. It ends one of two ways. Number one, you can meet a state trooper if you're driving over 105 miles an hour, and that state trooper can write you a ticket, or that state trooper can take you to jail, or you could crash and really injure yourself or ultimately die.
The major says even if they don't pull you over right when you speed by, there are other ways that they can find you and hold you accountable for speeding.
We have a helicopter that's available to us. There's other technologies. We recognize that while they may not stop for us right then and there on the side of the road, there are other investigative techniques that we have to be able to identify you, identify the car, that we can be able to identify you later and be able to catch up with you later on. Whether it's not there on the side of the road, we have incredibly talented investigators and detectives to be able to discover where you are, where you work, and where you live, and to be able to arrest you at a later time.
So far in 2026, UHP says there have been 6 crashes in Utah involving speeds of more than 100 miles per hour. One of those crashes resulted in the death of a 66-year-old woman back in January. Giving Tuesday is still planned for the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, but in Ogden, today might just be Giving Thursday. It's Weber State University's second annual Day of Giving, raising funds for scholarships, student programs, and even basic needs on campus. KSL-TV's Tyrese Boone has more.
Weber students and staff are getting a big boost from a 24-hour fundraising effort, and university leaders hope the community will step up to support its campus programs.
Weber State University is hosting its second annual Day of Giving, a 24-hour fundraiser supporting students and staff. Last year's first event brought in more than $94,000, and organizers hope to exceed that total this year.
We were super excited about the results. We raised $94,000, and it was our first year, so we were really excited about that. This year, we're just looking forward to, of course, breaking those goals, getting new donors engaged.
The fundraiser provides support for students facing urgent financial challenges, including food insecurity and unexpected expenses.
Students who needs help with funding when they're in like an emergency. Some students they are like about to go homeless, or some people who cannot afford their tuition.
The Day of Giving also funds scholarships, campus projects, and programs that give students hands-on experiences beyond the classroom.
We do everything from scholarships to basic needs center like the food pantry, helping with different conferences and retreats that the students can go on to get that real lived experiences.
Community members and alumni are encouraged to donate, helping students and staff succeed academically and personally.
Organizers say even the smallest donations can make a big impact for students and staff at the university. Reporting from Ogden, Tyrese Boone, KSL 5 News.
Anyone can pitch in to help at give.weber.edu. Roughly 2/3 of all college students say inflation has hit them hard, with rising rent, food, book, and tuition prices all factoring into that struggle. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
How was your break?
It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code THRIVE25 for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code THRIVE25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up. That's THRIVE25.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
A massive expansion broke ground today on Salt Lake City's west side that will add more than 75 affordable permanent housing options for Utah's veterans and seniors. The Fair Park Phase 3 project expands a Housing Plus model designed by the nonprofit Switchpoint, which pairs housing with on-site case management, employment training, food access, and healthcare navigation. For more on the project, I spoke with Jody Lunt, Director of Development and Philanthropy at Switchpoint.
We're pretty excited about it because it's on the same campus where we already have 94 units, and it will include wraparound services that will help them age in place. So we'll have medical rooms, case management rooms, and then community centers so that they can have their activities all together.
Describe what a difference this is going to make for the community. Have these kinds of things been available before?
Yeah, in our original 94 units, and we also just down the street have another 100 units, but we have over 400 seniors on our waiting list. And so this is a really critical piece to say, hey, if we've got room in our parking lot, let's build some more and, take some pressure off of our waiting list.
How is this development different from other developments that provide these kinds of services?
I think the biggest piece is that in our permanent supportive housing, we make sure that we're building a community where people can belong and that they have everything that they need right on site. So if they have food insecurity, we have a little pantry. Hildegard's Pantry from St. Mark's Episcopal has been amazing at helping us with that. We have group activities. We have lots of group settings. So like AA can meet there, or other types of groups so that they feel like they've got some friends and advocates in their corner. So I think, for us, Switchpoint, when we build something, is we're really trying to say this isn't just housing. This is what I consider housing plus, is there's enough there that they feel like they're home and they belong.
Yeah. Talk about the piece about the veterans. How do you actually serve veterans?
Sure. In our partnership with the VA, they identify veterans that need a place to live and that are in that low-income bandwidth. And then their medical team is the one that will service them on site. And so whether that's with home health or any of the things that they need, on a medical level, they come in and do. They also do all the case management. So the PTSD, as an example, they have veteran group meetings where they can meet together. And the VA administers those. They've been a good partner with us. And so this will just make it more robust as we have about 48 that will be moving into this facility.
I see that you have some waiting lists. So kind of describe for me the need for this development.
Yeah. In the last 2 years, we've seen almost a 50% increase just in 2 years of what I would consider our graying homeless. And those are seniors who are getting priced out. So they're on fixed incomes and they might be on disability or Social Security or a small VA pension, but they can't afford the rent that's going right now. And so they're getting displaced faster than we can find new spots to put them. And that's been, for me, a very critical goal or mission, for Switchpoint to accomplish, is to try and create deeply affordable housing with all of these services so that they are not put to the street.
Any final thoughts for us?
Nope, just send people to our website, and they can, switchpoint.org, and they can volunteer, they can donate, or they can just see how they can get involved in their own neighborhoods.
Jody Lund is the Director of Development and Philanthropy at Switchpoint. Also in attendance at the groundbreaking was Elder Blaine Maxfield of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The church is a key community partner in the project.
Every individual matters, and as we, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, have been involved with this and other projects with Switchpoint, it's clear to us that they recognize that this is more than housing. This creates dignity, it creates hope, it creates opportunity for those that may have been otherwise marginalized. And so we are so thrilled as we look around this and we look to be involved, what this means for self-reliance, what this means for hope, what this means for opportunity, what this means for dignity, and what this means for each individual.
Leaders for the project say the broad coalition of government, faith, and private sector investment could make a real difference in addressing homelessness in Salt Lake County. You can find more information on the project at Switchpoint in general at switchpoint.org. Get your kicks on Route 66. After the break, we'll take a moment to celebrate the 100th birthday of America's Main Street. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. What's happening, Michelle?
Looking at some unusual slowing, this is due to construction lane restrictions northbound on Legacy Parkway between North Salt Lake headed up towards Centerville. And then we've also got a little bit of slowing if you're making your way northbound through the Linton area and again from Murray into the Midvale into Murray, I should say. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Breaking news, University of Utah has just sent out an alert about another measles case on campus. The school says if you were at the Open Student Union and Associated Students at the University of Utah offices on Tuesday from 2:30 to 8, you may have been exposed to the measles.
You know what time it is.
It's Toy Hauler Month at Paris RV.
That's right. Yes! Paris RV is the Intermountain West's largest toy hauler dealer. Right now, hook up to the 2026 Grey Wolf 18RR for $25,995 or $260 a month. Or the 2026 Rogue 25 SUT for $44,995 or $454 a month. Or the 2026 Cyclone 3511 for $79,995 or $675 a month. And all three, zero down.
It's Toy Hauler Month at Paris RV.
Paris RV is your locally owned, family-run RV dealership. We strive hard to find the very best RVs for the price. With 4 locations, over 1,000 RVs in stock, 42 service bays, and 4 super parts stores. We're sure to help take your family on the best RV vacation. Check out our perfect family bunkhouse trailer, the 26BH. That sleeps 9 for $19,995 or $227 a month. Zero down. Life is short. Enjoy it. North Murray, South Murray, Payson, and Pocatello. ParisRV.com.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
We want to talk about soda, diet, and nutrition. SOTA stands for state of the art. And Andy and I both let go of massive amounts of weight. You more than me.
70 pounds in 5 months.
And I did 37 pounds in 3 months. And what worked for me was so many things. Talking to a nutritionist every week and having her tell me what to eat. I can do as I'm told.
Yeah.
But I have no clue where to begin.
And I needed the help too. It's just food. There's no pills, no injections. So you learn how to both let go of the weight and then how to keep it off.
So SOTA Diet and Nutrition is a great place to start. But if you started with pills or medications and you find yourself starting to gain some weight back, SOTA Diet and Nutrition is a great way to learn how to have a new relationship with food to go into the future.
You can talk with a nutritionist by calling 866-800-SOTA, S-O-T-A, or you can go to their website, sotadietandnutrition.com.
Join now and your partner joins for free. 2 people, real accountability for the price of 1.
Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry is the jewelry we never wear. It sits tucked away in a drawer. A ring from a grandmother, a pendant from years gone by. Pieces filled with stories, but not part of your everyday life. Duke's Jewelers believes those pieces deserve more. For over 75 years, Duke's Jewelers has helped families reimagine heirloom jewelry, transforming what once was into something you'll love wearing today and pass down tomorrow. Whether it's resetting a stone, redesigning a ring, or creating something entirely new, Duke's Jewelers will guide you through every step, right there in the store. And if you have jewelry that no longer fits your story, Duke's Jewelers also buys gold, offering a simple, transparent way to turn it into something meaningful again. Bring in what you have and create something you'll never want to take off. Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville, where your story continues.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The crew of the Artemis 2 moon mission is preparing their Orion spacecraft for re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. News Nation's Allie Bradley is at Johnson Space Center with the latest.
After traveling nearly 250,000 miles from Earth and looping around the moon, the Artemis 2 crew is on their final leg of their journey back home to Earth. So the 4 astronauts on board Orion are preparing for one of the most dangerous and defining moments of the mission, re-entry. Following Tuesday's historic lunar flyby, their focus has shifted fully homeward, running final systems checks, fine-tuning the capsule's position, and getting ready for a fiery descent through Earth's atmosphere. NASA says Orion will hit the atmosphere at close to 25,000 miles per hour, with temperatures climbing to nearly 5,000 degrees. Parachutes are then going to deploy to slow the spacecraft before it splashes down in the Pacific off the coast of San Diego, where recovery crews, including the U.S. Navy, will be standing by. Late last night, the crew reflected on their experience.
I will miss being this close with this many people and having a common purpose, a common mission, getting to work on it hard every day across hundreds of thousands of miles with a team on the ground. This sense of teamwork is something that you don't usually get, like, as an adult. I mean, we are close, like brothers and sisters. 100%. And that is a privilege we will never have again.
Now, as I mentioned, the Navy will be on standby for this splashdown, so they're going to play a big role here in the recovery process, and they actually have kind of a long-standing tradition of welcoming these astronauts back to Earth, and so they're going to be out there helping with the recovery. There's going to be helicopters involved as well, extracting the crew members and also preserving the capsule and bringing that to shore as well onto a amphibious vessel that will be out in the Pacific Ocean. So they've been training for this. This is something that they're prepared for and something we hope all goes according to plan. Now, they're going to first travel to San Diego. They're going to undergo some medical screenings and checks like that, and then they're going to head to the Space Center here in Houston. Back to you.
Make sure you tune into Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News tomorrow for extensive coverage as the Artemis mission makes its way back home to Earth.
If you ever plan to motor west, travel my way, take the highway, that's the best. Get your kicks on Route 66.
America's Main Street is celebrating an historic milestone this year. Route 66 is turning 100 years old. Much of the route has faded into history over the last several decades, thanks largely to the creation and expansion of the interstate highway system. But for true fans of road trips, the route from Chicago to Los Angeles still holds a special place in their hearts. The Associated Press took a journey on this famous road, speaking with people who have seen the road in its heyday and with those who are trying to make sure that the road doesn't completely fade away.
Perhaps one of the most interesting things about Route 66 is officially it doesn't exist.
This highway hasn't existed as a U.S. highway since 1985, and yet it's more popular than any time in its history. It played an integral part in development of American car culture. Most travelers run Route 66 from east to west. That means starting in Chicago and running to Santa Monica. The Native Americans have all been impacted by every stage of this, good and bad.
Yeah, with the roads coming in and the train and Route 66, that people just had to adapt, but it brought more Americanization to our reservation. Basically had to bite the bullet and just go with it, take advantage of, the commerce. And so that's what we did. And, to this day, we still fight to keep our reservation boundaries and our sovereignty.
By and large, the black traveler didn't get a lot of kicks on Route 66, and if they got some kicks, it wasn't the kind that you would think of. The 3 service station was the location that black travelers could come and not have to be concerned about somebody coming up on you in the middle of the night. When the interstate came through, travel along Highway 66, the volume just sort of degraded.
Route 66 was never able to evolve fast enough to meet the changing traffic needs. And as a result, many, many communities, just like in the movie Cars, were completely decimated, transformed into ghost towns. It's not America's most scenic highway or most historic, but it's become an internationally recognized symbol. It is the American experience made manifest, the Great American Road Trip.
So, as the song goes, if you ever plan to motor west, travel my way, take the highway, that's the best. Get your kicks on Route 66.
Well, it winds from Chicago to LA, more than 2,000 miles all the way. Get your kicks on Route 66. Oklahoma City looks so pretty, you'll see. Amarillo and Gallup, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona. Don't forget Nona, Big Sun, Moscow, St. Bernardino. Want to get hip to this kind of tip and go take that California trip. Get your kicks on Route 66.
Okay. Jeff Kaplan has joined me in studio. Have you taken the trip on Route 66?
I think through New Mexico. It was a kitschy town full of hotels that looked like they were in the 1950s. Mm-hmm. This was about 8 years ago. It was a fantastic drive.
A lot of books written about it, too. Check them out.
All I remember is really flat and really 1950s.
All right. Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is next. Have a great afternoon.